Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Co-op Tournament 2020. I am Kurant, and I am joined here in the booth by my co-com Demon RHK. Demon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, sir. I'm glad to get a little more racing, a little more excitement under our belt. It's been an exciting day already, and I can't wait to see these four to kick it off.
Oh, absolutely. We have, for this evening, Team Onrac Oviparity Theater, had to practice that pronunciation for a while, versus Team Vorpals. And the OOTs are on the left, Zenobian and Cyranus, versus Zar and Lyra on the right as Team Vorpals. Team OOT took the first of the two races, and we are now on Game 2 of Round 1. I am the gatekeeper this evening, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the gate, and we will get started momentarily. While we drop that gate, Demon, do you want to talk about the co-op format a little bit for everybody?
Absolutely. So we got ourselves two runners on the left, two runners on the right, each one representing a team. Now, this is a co-op tournament, so our runners will be sharing key items. The way that works is we have everything linked up through the magic of the internet and some good programs on our computers here. After about 7 seconds after getting a key item, it'll go to the server, and about 7 more seconds later, it will get dropped off to their partner. At that point, the server has that item saved for the team. They can reset, wipe out whatever happens, and still be able to claim that item. In addition, we are in a shard hunt tonight, so we're looking for 28 pieces of ore broken up, spread all over the world. Once we get those 28 pieces, and of course have our required loot and key for accessing and getting our way through the last dungeon of the game, Temple of Fiends Revisited, we will see about making our way down and killing us 4 refights as well as chaos.
It's going to be quite the match. These flags are definitely very interesting. There's a few subtleties to the flags that we will get to as we go along, but Demon covered a lot of the basics. It makes for some pretty speedy races, generally speaking, and we are now officially underway as our runners get going. There is an floor and entrance shuffle to this, so the teams just discovered that the Temple of Fiends is at the Canaria Castle, so it makes for a fairly easy jump while you got town right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say, I noticed we have bracket level 1 on the Black Magic side and Pro Ring 4s at the armor shop.
Yeah, very nice. We also have Bane, which is going to be a really nice AoE attempt to full wipe. We have Saber for those of them that did bring the red mages in. And our white mages are going to be supplying us with level 1 exit, it seems like, that is locked out to our red mages.
Absolutely. But the teams that are the runners that do have white mages are in very good shape right now because exit is going to be vital in a floor and entrance randomizer, especially as those entrances go very, very deep, as we have seen at times.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing more you dislike without not having an exit spell or a warp spell and running into a split.
Absolutely. So it looks like Zenobian's heading into Temple of Fiends, whereas Cyranus is going to check out Elfland, finds Elfland Town to be the dwarves. So it's a couple of nice treasures early, although no shards, sadly.
No shards. Opal armors for the fighters, or knights rather in this case, rolled a -4.
Oh, that's not fun. But he did find Canaria Castle hiding inside Elfland Castle, so he gets the early canoe for the team, and that's a pretty good transportation item to have early on.
Yes, it's a great transportation item early on. Hopefully he transmits over to Zenobian that, hey, can you do me a favor and kill Garland? Because we're still going to need to get Sarah's item, however.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Zar has discovered that the Temple of Fiends was Titan's East, so if you get the ruby, he knows where to turn it in, and Zenobian picks up the first shard for the team. Well, the shard for him. The shards need to be individually collected. It looks like our shards this evening are jewels, so we shall see how many jewels they need to collect, or that they find. They need to collect 28 of them.
Looks like Garland on Zenobian's side decides to take the Brack on the second attempt, and down goes, and we have one rescued princess.
I'm glad you saw that, because I was looking at other streams, and I looked up, and Garland was suddenly gone, so well, there you go. The power of Brack early on. Oh, I see a Cure 3 over on Zar's side. He went over to check the magic over in, well, what turned out to be Melmond. And we have Lot 2 on the black magic side. So pretty good magic to have for white mages and black mages. Your red mages and wizards, slightly more difficult though, sadly.
Yeah, also saw in the weapon shop, rarely checked, but a cat claws rolled a worst possible -5 at max gold. I don't think we're going to be picking those up at all.
Nah, afraid not.
Now, this is being week 1, so our treasures are set to normal value, which means that all the stuff you would normally find in the game or in the normal randomizer are going to be here. So there is definitely a Mass Immune in the pool. There is as well the Vorpal, the Excalibur.
So no craziness yet. Once we get to later flags, though, I expect there to be plenty of craziness.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so it looks like Provoca was the town that had become Melman, and Czar is making their way up to Matoya's entrance to see what that becomes, as Zenobian is about to discover a Titan awaiting him in the Temple of Fiends normal. Ooh, looks like Matoya became, I presume, Proc-Gen Waterfall.
You love to see it and you hate to see it. You want to see it, you want to see the entrance being close, and you want to see nice, easy fights that you can take here. But we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Well, Czar at least gonna give it a couple of looks before... Oh, there's your entrance. Well, it was very quick. Although, Shark is decently doable. Red Sahag's not quite so much, but is able to get past them and start opening up all of those treasures. And I presume is communicating to Lyra before he raids everything at the waterfall. Meanwhile, Lyra has found the carry floor.
Nice couple of incentive finds really quickly here.
Oh, absolutely. That was over at the Vanilla Dwarves location. Meanwhile, I see Zenobian found it as well and has made their way to the treasure chest while Czar picks up the cube. And Zenobian picks up the chime, so between them we have Team Sky, Sky, Sky all ready to go.
Absolutely. Zenobian also, very importantly, on a shallow carry floor, finding that the inside red detail is actually mages and fighters.
Oh, that is going to be quite the grind when they're able to take care of it, at least. Serenus has made their way down to the marsh entrance and found the more lucrative of the Canaria entrances, so we'll see if any shards manage to present themselves there. And there's at least one. Only one shard, sadly. Meanwhile, Lyra has discovered Lupaland over here.
Yeah, no slab to have translated to Melmon, therefore not much. He's going to check out the level 8 magic, see what the bad news is.
Alright, it's Quad X. Hello. And heal 1, so not too disappointing, I suppose. I mean, not being able to get Quad X kind of stinks a little bit.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as having to check the level 8 and Gaia with your with holding your breath, but it is something to see. Quad X, not so bad, but... Meanwhile, it looks like we find Provoca Titans East.
Okay, well, there you go. There's a level 2 magic town, so that's good to see.
Another key item hiding behind Vicky and his merry band of pirates.
Yep. And I also noticed when Zenobian was going through the waterfall that he found a Coral 4 sword, which normally you wouldn't exactly write very large and flashy headlines about a Coral sword, but +4 is a pretty good pickup for a fighter, certainly this early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe a Coral on a +4 is going to put it nearly on par with about a base ice or flame sword.
That's definitely a good weapon to have, especially early on. As Zenobian pokes around in Lefane, and he's going to do the same check as did Czar earlier, try to find that magic, or maybe not try to find that magic, never mind. He was certainly making that path around as though he was going to.
Yeah, he's like, on second thought, never mind, forget it.
Yeah. Oh well. Alright, so Lyra checking the magic and finding in black magic, we got warp at level 2, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, all of our movement magic right on point. Warp, of course, going to make ice a much easier traversement.
Oh goodness, yes.
A low-level lock spell as well, so something to share to burn all those level 2 charges in Topher on.
Yep. And Serenus has found Sarda. So let's see what Sarda's hiding for us today. And it is the Adamant, so, well, I was going to say, they know where the dwarves are. I believe they know where the dwarves are. We know where the dwarves are, so they can definitely take advantage of that. And we see... Yeah, go ahead.
Our ruby is for sale at the modest price of $15,400. So we can go ahead and Uber Eats that over to the Titan waiting in this tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely. And steel 3 armor is pretty cheap, actually. I've generally not used steel armor very much, but from what I've heard, it's a pretty good armor for a fighter, especially on a plus.
Absolutely. We find Gaia hiding over in Volcano, but yeah, steel 3, absolutely worth the evasion penalty, especially at that price.
Yeah.
Saw Pure and X first sitting at level 7 white. I did miss the level 7 black, however.
Uh-oh. Well, I was going to say, still, it's good to get a look at that early magic, or late magic early on, I should say.
Siren is taking a moment relaying the fact that there are gold plus 3s for sale in Gaia, and about to go get all the bad news on the level 8 magic.
Uh-oh. Oh, Fade at level 8. That's not good.
Not the greatest thing you like to see there.
Oh no, and Fast and Ice 3 are level 8. Oh, yeah. Definitely not what you want to see magic-wise.
No, not at all. That's going to make our black mages are just going to be worth their weight in gold for those very few casts of level 8 magic they're going to have when we get into the end of the game.
Yeah. And I now notice on Zar's side that Cure 4 is at level 2 in white magic, so that is good news for both the white mages and the red mages, because both of them can learn it, and also the upgraded knights later on.
Looks like we're going to get an adamant drop-off. And for a whole 7 gold, the market must be flooded.
Oh dear. So this, if you're not familiar with the co-op flags, is one of the 3 duds that we have in the game location. So the 3 of the usual incentive drop-offs can be utter garbage, and Zenobian unfortunately just found one.
On top of that, turned in the TNT, managed to find the bottle. Siren is probably muttering under his breath as he hoofs it back to Gaia to now go turn that in.
Well, hey, we can call it a labor of love, if you will.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Zar is fighting the pirates, and the pirates are fighting him right back, because they have heat and they're not messing around. Speaking of not messing around.
Siren is happy that double back gets the floater, so we are going to have a team in the air already here about 10 minutes in.
Uh-huh, yep. So we got ourselves a bona fide, certified, copyrighted Jet Seed 2020. All rights reserved. Now this, in many ways, one could say this is where teamwork will very much come in handy, because you might think, oh, well, great. Hey, we get the floater. We can be in the air. We can find everything really fast. But if you don't have a good setup as far as how you want to go about exploring, you can end up doubling up a lot of stuff, and it can actually slow the team down. So good strategy will be the key to managing essentially the possibility of choice paralysis this early on.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be able to quickly decide who is going to go where, divide and conquer the world.
All right, so at 11 minutes, almost 12 minutes, Cyranus takes to the air, and I suspect Zenobian will be in the air in short order. At the Sarda entrance, he found Earth 2, and going to relay that. So that will hopefully be home to some good treasure chests, but they will explore that later. In Titan's West, we find Elfland, so we've got level 3 and 4 magic ready to go. With Temper at level 3, that's good for the black mages, and I believe the red mages as well. I believe it's learnable at that slot. I may be wrong, though.
I believe it's all black for level 3 for them. Heal 3 for your white mage at level 3, good to see, as well as life 2.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And harm 4 as a... It's a little bit of a side note next to heal 3 and life 2. But harm 4 can definitely be worth a find as well.
So it looks like that our pirates that were bringing the heat were hiding a key.
Oh. That is also very good to find early on, because that opens the Canaria locked incentive, which is one of the 22 incentive locations we have in this co-op seed. Now, we have found one of the duds, so the chances of this being a not-so-great location is pretty low at this point.
Fire 3 Sing at level 4, that's going to be very good for our black mages and our red mages as well.
Absolutely. Alright, so Lyra makes their way down to the Elfland area, finds the dwarves. Zar is in Crescent Lake, and that it has Sarda, so we will be seeing that pop in and the item acquired shortly. Alright, so Zar picks up their adamant, which unfortunately we know leads to a womp womp, but of course they don't know that yet. They will discover that shortly.
Looks like Lyra's about to discover that here in just a moment, waiting for that to pop in.
Now that is good work on their side, because Zar had the item, Lyra was nearby, and went ahead and popped in and said, you know what, I'll take the heat, and, well, took the 7 gold. But is also going to check the key lock while they're here. So, again, good strategy on their parts. They have it divvied up pretty well. So, if they're... Oh, hello, wall. Was that a wall staff?
That was a wall staff +3, as well as an Aegis shield +1.
Yeah. Well, as we've seen elsewise in the co-op tournament, the wall weapon, or any sort of magic weapon like that, can be immensely valuable if used correctly.
Yeah, wall is a very good way, especially on an item, of making up for a distinct lack of ribbons later in the game.
Yes. Alright, so Zenobian heading out of the Gaia entrance and heading over to see what Vanilla Lefane has become.
Getting it out of the way early, I like the idea. It's just so out of the way that you try to put it off for so long, but if there's something good over there, it can give you quite a sizable lead over your opponents.
Right. Meanwhile, Cyrenus is checking the Canaria locked and is going to find the loot.
Loots himself a loot. That's going to be serve him absolutely no use. However, at the end of the game, it is one of the most important items that we're going to need.
Yep. Because if you ain't got it, you ain't getting into Topher, or at least the good parts of it. Meanwhile, since they have the chime and the cube, Zenobian is going to go check out what's in Mirage, and it is Crescent Lake. So Mirage has suddenly become very friendly and town-like.
It's just an oasis now in the middle of the desert.
Hey, well, I mean, you gotta have those somewhere, and where else do the legends come from?
Cyrenus also checking Dwarf Lock, going to find the Aegis on the wall. Probably going to put that on Zenobian's list to grab at some point the next time he's by.
Absolutely. And Lyra grabs the slab from Sarah, so we now will have on both sides that was Sarah's item. Meanwhile, Nuke at level 6 in Black Magic, so hello, fire starters.
Zara with a really cheeky Topher Lock check here. I like it. Finding sea snakes on the trap, not as good, but...
No, not really. And Zenobian picked up the herb from the old men at Crescent Lake. So, once they find Elfland Castle for real, then they can obviously exploit that. Zenobian is going to check and see what pops up on the... what pops up here in the desert, and it's going to use cheeky Brackstrats to try to get some quick experience. It doesn't work on round 1, though, sadly.
No, the Ankylos just weren't having it.
No. Then he found steak and wings and decided to not take part in that because, yeah, no, that's not going to work. At least not yet. Alright, so it looks like Cyrenus is in to pick up their magic, and is going to go ahead and spring for Ruse, which is definitely a good idea, especially for any sort of magic that can cast it, but particularly a white mage is definitely good news to have.
Absolutely. Zenobian coming across the Earth 3 floor, which has an incentive sitting in the vanilla ruby chest behind Vampire.
And looks like employing good old Bane strats to take care of these large packs of Gerwolves and werewolves, which is definitely good strategy, especially at these relatively early levels.
Yeah, with only having the one trap tile that you really can't, bane your way through, just trying to get some cheeky early quick levels to get a little bit of survivability under the team.
Yeah. So Cyranus has gone into the original Gaia location and is finding a couple of parts of the Kraken dungeon awaiting him, and going to see how far the rabbit hole goes, and it goes to Cardia. So pick up some money, and looks like a couple of other chests on the way. Hopefully one of them has a jewel, and it did not. It just had cash.
But never fear, exit is here, and it is no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Or warp, as the case may be. Alright, so looks like Zar has... Alright, Zar, I see, found the volcano entrance. I presume that's what led... I know we saw what was in the dwarves a little bit earlier on, so yeah, Volcano 1 led to that. It's going to go pick up the volcano incentive. Meanwhile, Lyra making the slab turn in, and picking up some explosives. So time to go give the dwarves their destructive powers back.
Yeah, absolutely going to go turn on that TNT and get the pickup off of that. Probably check lock while they're down there if they haven't done that yet.
So I see looks like Cyranus has found Lich. So I was going to say, I was under the idea that maybe it was the vampire floor, but it looks like it was the Lich floor. Or did it lead to it? Or am I getting things mixed up?
It looks like Zenobian was on the Lich floor. I'm not sure, but either way, Cyranus finds Lich and hiding an Onrac and serves him up some delicious, delicious cake.
Absolutely. So, nice to see Lich was obliging today, and so Lich has gone down in, I guess, gone down in sweets? I don't know. You wouldn't say gone down in flames for that one.
Gone down in delicious, delicious chocolate, just like the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka, rather.
Yeah. Well, I presume both. I haven't seen Charlie in a while, but I did see Willy Wonka pretty recently, though. And Cyranus, in the waterfall, has located the volcano armory, which is really good news for shard hunting.
Yeah, this is a really good floor to pick up. You're going to have a couple of different trap tiles you can check, get a bunch of treasure chests.
Meanwhile, it looks like Zenobian is burning off an encounter or two before heading back into Titan's West. And is sort of failing to burn off an encounter, it seems.
Just dealing with trying to bane out all these Gerwolves.
Well, it can be effective, just takes a little bit of doing is all, I guess. Alright, so the Volcano Armory holds a silver 3, flame -1, 2 shards so far, and the trap tile is very good for anybody who has fire. Or Bane.
Most importantly, charges of fire, unfortunately for his Black Mage.
Oh dear. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. You gotta have the fire to be able to cast it. So we'll see how good a job Bane does, and it's doing a decent job on the Frost Wolves, but Frost Giants just kind of said thanks, but no thanks to the first application at least. Second application, though, sweeps the board, and that's some very tasty early experience for Cyranus. Ooh, boy. And
finds himself a Fierce Sword and a Lit Stick.
Well, they might be good as... Well, at least the Fierce Sword might be decent to equip. I'm not sure. I don't really use Fear that much, to be honest, so maybe that's a shame on me, but it's not a spell I see mentioned all that much.
Meanwhile, Zenobian seems to have come across ordeals.
Yep, so time to navigate that Pillar Maze, and give your other runner the secrets to not have to make all the same mistakes when they go through.
Looks like ice leads directly to Kraken.
Oh, hi. Well, have fun dealing with that, I suppose. Maybe not now, but certainly a little bit later on if they so choose. It's worth mentioning there are enough shards in the world to where if the runners wish, they don't have to worry about fighting fiends, but usually you find a good mix between the two depending on how locations go and how the treasure chests shake out.
Zenobian into the dreaded 4-pack of pillars here in Ordeals. Seems to not be checking out the cheeky trap tile off by itself.
Meanwhile, Bane is doing some really good work for Zenobian, trying to take down some of these monsters here in an otherwise unnavigable, or at least not easily navigable, ordeals. So those levels are coming in pretty fast for both Zenobian and Cyranus. They're around the 12, 13 level mark at this point. I've not been able to really see the levels for Zar and Lyra. Oh, there we go. We've got levels on Zar's side, and it looks like they were... Zar's levels were at least a little bit lower. They hadn't made it double digits yet, so I'm not sure whether it's more of a priority on exploration or they just haven't been able to find good enough monster packs.
Zenobian on the bouncer tile inside of Ordeals finds a ghost. Thankfully gets away because ghosts are very dangerous in here. They do not care about your absorb in the least bit.
No. But did find, if I'm not mistaken, a silver +4 bracelet. If I did see that correctly, that is very good for the mages.
Definitely serve them in the meantime until you get toward the end game and start spending all of your hard-earned and ill-gotten gains on the gold 3s we found.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but the silver 4s will do pretty well until you get to that point.
Oh, absolutely. And now that makes you hope that you can find them very quickly out in the world if you haven't seen them already.
Right. Zenobian finds the rod in Ordeals, so that, of course, will also pass on to Cyranus, and they will both be able to enjoy those spoils accordingly. Let's see. It's like Cyranus has found Onrac, Zenobian has found Onrac in the Vanilla Tail location. Meanwhile, Cyranus located the Kraken floor and promptly cracked back out.
Lyra had seemed to have sailed most of the way back around toward the NRC. The floater has come in from the teammate, immediately reset all the way back to Elfland so they can go pick up an airship.
Yep, absolutely. And that is, especially with the knowledge that you gained already as far as entrances, that's a good move because that means you can gain that mobility very quickly and just exploit it from there. And Zenobian has found Sky 3 in the in the Cardia Swamp tile, found a Temper Axe, Procate 2, a Fire 2 staff. So that Temper Axe is going to serve pretty well as they go through.
Absolutely.
Because as we've seen, especially since these bosses in these co-op seeds are clamped at least 100%, up to possibly 250% of all of their stats, you definitely want to have a good source of getting power on your fighters or whoever's swinging your heaviest swords. And since we know that Fast is at level 8, yeah, you're going to want as many good sources of temper as you can get. Alright, so Lyra is in the air, and Zar is now also in the air at just over 27 minutes. So now everybody in this seat is airborne, and we can, well, let the ship take a well-deserved rest.
Yeah, absolutely. It has sailed its last. It's going to remain docked there, either on the inner sea or somewhere on a river.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's alright. The crew just needed to take themselves a little holiday, so I think they've very much earned it. Alright, so looks like Zenobian is continuing the purge of Sky 3, whereas Cyranus is headed into the Topher the Temple of Fiends locked chests. Czar is going through Cardia, and Lyra is picking up supplies before beginning their exploration.
Zenobia coming across a shirt. Less importantly, it has sleep on it. More importantly, it has rolled +5. So a shirt is going to have the same absorb or defense rating that you're going to have on a gold bracelet, but the fact that it rolled up to maximum value, once that you get up to promotion, that's either going to be a very good black mage or a very good white mage, or wizard in this case, item. We're just not sure which yet.
Right. Meanwhile, Zenobia has found the place to grow up, but nobody has a tail, sadly, so no growing up yet. Alright, and is going to, well, I thought was going to take a Chimera fight, but it didn't, or I guess decided not to.
Decided better, probably referring over to some notes, doing some jotting down, letting your teammate know, hey, I found our place to, grow up and become big white warriors whenever we decide to and find the right item.
Right. Yeah, and the way that the parties are comped out in these co-op seeds, there's been essentially a gentleman's agreement to not take black belts unless both teams and all 4 runners are fully agreeing to it. So, in essence, it is in their interest to grow up as soon as possible.
Cyranus is diving right down to Kraken. We have all the bravery in the world here. I think we might be seeing some cheeky Brack strats.
I would suspect so, yeah. Considering the spells that they have, it would certainly be the best way to go after Kraken at this point. So, yeah, we'll definitely enjoy that, I think.
Zenobia heading down to Rod Lock. She's going to check in on that here now that you have a rod to break that's cover stone with.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense to go ahead and combine those. Obviously, it's good routing from some veterans runners.
And here we go, the Kraken fight on Cyranus' side.
Yep, like you said, cheeky Brack strats, except Kraken got cheeky too and decided to smack one of the Brackers.
Here's try number 2. Broken into pieces, takes it on the second shot.
Ah, nice. So Kraken goes down, Cyranus gets those 4 orbs, or 4 jewels, I should say, and promptly revives the poor black mage. Meanwhile, Zenobia knocks down the vampire and grabs Ostos' crown. So we're going to have ourselves a crown turned in whenever they can find Northwest Castle.
Who knows, maybe it's under the Rod Lock.
It could very well be, or not.
Or it could be a Cardia treasure room.
Hey, if it gives jewels, it's a good room.
Zenobian ruthlessly talking to these poor defenseless dragons. One of our flags on this evening is known as the NPC guillotine. If you talk to non-important NPCs like those poor dragons themselves, they will seemingly just vanish from the world. Absolutely, gone to the farm upstate.
Yep, at least for the time being. Also, Lyra looting the Temple of Fiends chests, and I hadn't seen it on screen, but the top right chest have 2 shards in them, or 2 jewels, so very, very valuable. Meanwhile, Cyranus is going to go ahead and head into the Ordeal's entrance and finds a connective sea shrine floor, so going to save before diving any further into that, which obviously is a good play. And finding the bottom of Marsh Cave, rather, sorry.
Yes, absolutely. We can make some extra checks down here with the key, as well as checking a few extra trap tiles. Most importantly is going to be our middle, where you normally find the vanilla crown, with its guarding trap tile, as well as one of our key items, possibly resting inside.
It is, well, yeah, it's an incentivized location this time around. Of course, we still have yet to find 2 of those duds, so it could very well be, but we shall find out after the man-cats stop throwing frost at Cyranus. This might not go... Well, it looks like it's going okay, but 5 of the man-cats casting frost is not going to be very fun.
Yeah, man-cats with frost and ruse here, and that's a wipe.
Yeah, down goes Cyranus. I think is that the first death we've seen from any of the runners, I believe?
I do believe that's the first full wipeout that I have seen. I haven't noticed any other ones.
Yeah, I don't believe I have either. Oh, the second visit to that trap tile is much, much kinder, except not being able to run away. There it goes. And there's your tail.
Absolutely. Looks like we're going to be doubling back for promotion sometime soon here, especially with some of these spells like Career 4 being available early. And at level 2 where the knight will be able to learn them, you're definitely going to want to get those spell charges up. Once, of course, we get up into the mid-teens and levels.
Yep, absolutely. But it's still definitely in their interest to promote as soon as possible.
Yes, I do believe we have a couple of really highly rolled pieces of opal armor that are waiting for our knight to make sure that nothing is going to get through that tin can.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so it looks like Czar is heading through Sky 3 and is going to find all of those, that sleep shirt and all the other lovely things that are around there. Meanwhile, the trap tile in... Oh dear, trap tile in Keelock Marsh was a red on kilo, which is not exactly anybody's idea of a good time.
No, that's definitely nobody's preference on a good time there. Just getting absolutely, at least gets the jump on the second group, however.
Yeah. And I did notice I believe a Fog 2 shirt on Zenobian's side as he is exploring the joys of Sky 1. Oh, and a Mazza -2. -2 is not the greatest thing, but Mazza is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Even with a little bit of crit loss you're going to take on the stat loss to a -2, a Massa -2 damage-wise is better than even a very highly rolled Excal.
Yes. So that's still very, very good news for the fighter. Really for, eventually anybody, I suppose. But the fighter is definitely going to make some very good use out of that for a good long while.
Yes, the fighter will probably be making use of it for the most of the game, unless we happen to find a Vorpal somewhere, in which case we might have our White Samurai scenario coming up to the forefront.
Absolutely. It just depends on how all those weapons roll. That's part of the fun of having these, what we call blessed and cursed weapons, or blurst as we shorten the term. That means that your weapons will either roll plus or minus in some important categories like hit and crit rate, or your armor might roll plus or minus in important categories like absorb and evasion and all that good stuff. So we are finding that in plenty today.
So now they're coming across the mermaid's floor. While not being an incentive in and of itself, it is still riddled with treasure chests, which is a good chance for us to find some jewels.
Yep, and we'll obviously pass that information on to Cyranus, as such things go. And makes a nice warp out of mermaids, or of the specific incentive location. Oh, hello. That was a good thing to find.
Yeah, immediately finds one of our wild gold 3s in the world, and it just immediately drops and repicks that up.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of those that you would like having a gold bracelet anyway, but add 3 to that, add all of that absorb and everything that you need. It makes for a fantastic equipment item for any mage. So that's definitely going to be a good pickup, really, on both sides. Alright, so it looks like on Czar's side, they are headed toward the waterfall and having just checked Onrac. And it looks like Lyra is doing some magic purchasing over at Crescent Lake and perhaps contemplating the viability of such ridiculous prices on some of that magic.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of price gouging going on in our seed. Things rolled a little bit higher than anticipated on some of these prices, and having to curse your luck early, being a little low on cash.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that comes with a seed like this, so I suspect they will simply rue the fates a little bit and then move on about their merry business. Especially considering that Czar has found the armory and is going to plunder its treasures, of which we know there are many.
Gonna get some very good armor, get a couple of shards as well as probably coming across just a little bit of cash to help in the meantime.
Oh, sure. Alright, so Cyranus heading over to Vanilla Northwest Castle, as Zenobian sort of flies by him in a way. Alright, so with Zenobian finding the Titan's west entrance, we have the Ruby turn in, and we are going to see Rune Sword, money, opal shield, and power -3. So nothing particularly outstanding, unfortunately.
No, another one of our 3 dud locations. Not the worst of duds. Definitely
Yeah.
much better than the 7 gold we had previously, but not what you like to see, especially already having a better shield on hand.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it's a soft way to find a dud, if you will. It doesn't completely smack you around. I think one of the seeds, perhaps earlier, I can't remember if it was earlier this week or last week, but one of the seeds that had these duds had the Mazamune as a dud, which is pretty ridiculous as far as duds go.
Yes, quote unquote dud.
Exactly. Alright, so Zenobian is going to go grow up and become a big strapping knight and start taking advantage of all those lovely spells to go ahead and find. Meanwhile, Cyranus has found some eyes and is going to go poke them with sharp sticks. So, sorry, eyes.
Yep, gonna go poke them with sharp sticks. Judging by the fact he found an eye, he's probably near that Sky 1 floor where that, in fact, right there at it, one of those next pickups, is the Massa.
Yep, absolutely. So, now time for Cyranus to employ an even sharper stick, and wastes no time in doing so. Alright, so I see level-wise that Czar has danned one of his members and has everybody else at level 11. I couldn't quite tell where Lyra's levels were at this point. It looks like just from the HP totals that Lyra's levels are a fair bit lower, even.
Yes, last time I saw it, in fact, we get a look right now, still 5 across the board. Very low right now.
Yeah. I presume that Lyra's favored probably a lot more exploration over trying to get levels. Or either that or has kind of hit a bad run in trying to get them.
Yeah, probably taking a stroll around here, having a little tour around some of the seafloors, but just needs to get down through there, and with your partner you can do some exploration. Unfortunately, Czar coming across the marsh split.
Yep, and that looked like that was in the traditional Gaia entrance. So, wow, marsh split actually connecting vanilla.
Is this even randomized?
I know, right?
Cheekily checking one of these chests, which is connected. I'm not sure which one that is connected to, but
that is connected to Marsh Bottom 1, if I remember correctly. The first chest you run across there.
Also finding our Q block as well. Gonna check us a trap tile, maybe?
Contemplating it. I think we've got some information passing going on. Speaking of trap tiles, Zenobian is going... Oh, dear. Zenobian is going across the Earth trap tiles in the Hall of Giants, and we see in stark relief on Czar's screen that the trap tile is, it looks like white gators and maybe red Caribs or something of that ilk.
Yeah, the Caribs and the Frost Gators, not something you really like to see there.
Yeah, that's not good news.
As contrast to the Big Eye Gur Sharks, which you very much do like to see on Zenobian's side.
Yeah, and is going to house up and take advantage of that. It's going to grind some more levels, especially since Zenobian is already all grown up. Why not go ahead and take it?
And that even looks to be the outer trap tile. I'm not even sure what the inner one is here.
Yeah, that was the first set. So very, very good news. That is a trap tile, especially once you have once you have charges of spells like Nuke that he's tossing around, you will want to take that all day long and twice on Sunday. Which, incidentally, it almost is.
Well, with any luck, we won't have to be... We're running long enough where they have to start grinding that tile on a Sunday, but we will see.
Yeah. Well, depends on if any of them are across the pond, because if they are, well, it already is, so congratulations. So that got Zenobian's levels up to 19, and it's continuing to take that grind. I would suspect probably going to take it until at least, I would say, obviously lower 20s, maybe even mid-20s, to just go ahead and dispense with the levels that they need to complete the seed altogether.
Yeah, on a scaling of a clamp between 100 and 250%, you probably want to go. You're probably highly comfortable in the mid 20s here this week.
Yeah.
You're going to be pretty well good enough to clear out just about anything that throws at you, and
Yeah.
having pretty much the entire gamut of all the key items short of the Oxale, it looks like. Yeah, I think you just stop here and maybe go ahead and make your end game grind up to 25, and then if it goes badly, you have other ones you can look at.
Right. It looks like Cyranus is going to go charging up the northern end of the marsh split here, and we will see what it yields momentarily. Well, momentarily, and shadows interrupt him, so whoops.
Lyra, however, also on Earth 1, looks to be clearing out and prioritizing getting some chests cleared to see what's down here first.
Yeah. So it seems Cyranus has found the greater than less than floor here on Mirage 2 and is going to take a very nice vampire fight, which why the heck not?
Yeah, taking the pretty soft vampires, it looks like. Has a good idea of that from his partner, having cleared out vampire on Earth 3. You know exactly how many hit points they're probably rocking here.
Yep.
And it looks to be not many. That was a 148, I believe, Fire 2 that took him out.
Yeah. So that gets Cyranus up to level 15. It looks like both of them are pretty well marching in lockstep as far as levels are concerned, although Zenobian's a little bit higher. Oh, hi, Ribbon. And 4 jewels so far on this floor. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's definitely a must-visit location. 4 jewels and a ribbon. You're coming for the ribbon anyway. The 4 jewels are just icing on the cake.
Oh, yes. Very sweet and tasty icing.
I do believe, we'll get a look here, but between what our trackers have been keeping us all updated on and what they just picked up, I believe Cyranus is already approaching, the needed 28 here. I do believe that was 20 or 22 I saw on their screen.
Yeah, Cyranus is getting very, very close. And it's just when you have any team that does well with this sort of setup, it's definitely a testament to note-taking and communicating, because that is really what is key in a co-op tournament seed, is making sure that you can gather information well and that you can bring it to your partner expeditiously.
Zenobian coming across the second Temper Axe. Seems to have gone to 23 on his party. Now with some more free Tempers backing him up.
That is going to be very good news, especially once we get into Temple of Fiends Revisited, with those lovely clamped bosses and everything awaiting our runners still at this point. It looks like we have ourselves a raid from Speed Gaming 2 coming in with a party of 47. Welcome everybody to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Co-op Tournament 2020. We have the Onrac Oviparity, let's see, that team name is a mouthful. Let's try that again. The Onrac Oviparity Theater of Zenobian and Cyranus versus Team Vorpals of Zar and Lyra on your screen tonight. Welcome everybody. I hope you all have had a great evening so far. This has been quite the race. We are about 45 minutes in, and it is a confirmed Jet seed because we had Team Onrac in the air at a little over 10 minutes.
Yeah, both of our teams of runners, even with a disparity of about 10 minutes between them, were both in the air within the first half hour, and it has just been foot on the gas ever since. We already have one of our team members on the left here, Cyranus, approaching complete shard count. Just have to collect probably a little bit more gear and some levels and be ready to even tackle the end of the game.
Yes, absolutely. Cyranus has been getting most of the shards, and you see on the screen has 24 of the 28 shards necessary to enter the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Meanwhile, Zenobian's taken a little bit more of a leveled strategy. Zar and Lyra have been exploring a great deal and have found, you see, most of the key items, as our trackers have shown. Unfortunately, Zar and Lyra have lagged a little bit further behind as far as being able to hold on to levels, but they are still very much in this combat as well. This is a seed that is by no means over yet in any stretch of the imagination, because the bosses are clamped, and so everything is going to be fun. So it is, I think, going to be a race right down to the end.
Speaking of bosses, it should be noted that Zenobian has located the Bridge of Destiny, the final floor that Tiamat resides on. However, we decided that it wasn't quite hard enough that way, so we threw an extra wrench at our runners, and he will be coming up on the Robot, a required war mech fight coming in here.
And we will see how Warmech decides to greet our party this evening. Oh, well, he greets us with a little bit of saucy vulgarity. Bite my shiny metal bleep.
As we're in combat, deciding what we're going to do, how we're going to buff up here. So we're looking for our tempers, our fasts are a little bit out of range still, and Viz up to let the team dodge. Let's see if we have a chicken or an emu tonight. Oh, that's a leading nuclear.
Oh, dear. Oh, that hurts. So the robot chicken is going to fry his competition instead of himself.
Yeah, Warmech wasting no time going to the well to the big stuff.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Lyra has grown up, and Zenobian's white mage has hit the carpet, sadly.
Oh dear, that looked like a 1 hit for 1 damage.
We have a very beefy, very dodgy, very obdurate Warmech this evening, and this may not be good news for Zenobian. Certainly valiant in trying to get everything off the ground, getting those locks in, getting tempers in to try to reinforce the strength of his fighter, but it's not the best looking run here. 3 hits, 272 is definitely a lot better though. But not when Warmech is the one delivering the heat.
Yeah, Warmech delivering yet another shot, and we have another light wear on the carpet, and we are going right back to talk to some sharks and some eyes.
Yep. So this was the grind tile that Zenobian was getting levels off a little bit earlier, and going right back to the well to get some more levels, which is, considering how strong Warmech is and how those hits were rolling, is a pretty darn good idea, methinks. So to everybody who came in from the Speed Gaming 2 side, if you want to, go ahead and go follow our runners, Zenobian, and we have Cyrenus and Lyra, and Zardia is the tag for Zar Racing there. So go follow our runners, please. Make sure that you give them appreciation for this great race that they have put on for us, as Cyrenus has located good old Matoya, but let's see, checking to see if they have their crystal. They do not have the crystal, so that's one of the few key items that they've not yet found.
Where the crystal, still outstanding here for them. I'm trying to think what all left we haven't really seen. I don't think we've seen Sky 2 yet.
I don't believe we have. No, we have not seen the asterisk. At least, not yet. We will pretty soon, I would expect, but no, we have not.
That's okay, that just happened to be one side of C-Split, and Cyrenus comes across the Sharknado floor.
Hello. So, I was going to say, could conceivably find those final two, or the final jewels that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Sharknado floor, a great floor to find here in this flag set. It has got a great deal of chest. It also has a great deal of differing trap tiles you can check.
And it looks like Cyrenus is relaying that information forward before exploring any further. And alright, so we will see what treasures and glories that Sharknado floor has for our runners this evening. Nothing particularly big so far, but those sandworms are not a bad grind. Especially if you can brack them. And hit them with a big pointy stick.
Yeah, absolutely a great, not bad grind to take there, or if you decide to. Or even just a good fight just to get through. A little bit of experience, free items, free chests, can't beat it.
Yeah. And finding a vanilla sun sword, which is a good weapon to give your red mage, especially, since Masa has the Masa. Meanwhile, Zenobian is continuing with the Big Eye and Great Shark tile, which is obviously a very commendable move as far as grinds go, because You're not going to find a lot of them that are better than that in terms of doability. The eye tile is one that really jumps out, but the Gershark and Big Eye tile is also a very good one as well.
Absolutely. It's not the best tile our runners have found. They are aware of a fighter mage tile that would serve them very well. But as far as proximity goes, when you're abandoned way out in the end of the world in Lefane, you might as well take what you got.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Sharknado leads to the first floor beneath the rod, which is also home to a pretty good number of treasure chests, should you choose to go looking for the jewels there. And Cyrenus, I suspect, will do just that after relaying the information over.
Absolutely. It's got 5 very great chests you can check right here, and then 3 chests that you'd rather forget about.
Yeah. And, oh, well, Katana too, if anybody has a thief to spare. Which it looks like a couple of our runners do.
Yeah, I think Zard would like to trade him for the Katana +2 here. We had a good choice on his side. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. But with all that being so shallow there, as well as our runners still having a lot to check on the right-hand side here, I got a good feeling they're going to come across that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to mention also, as Magius posted the links, our trackers this evening are Luffy Divital and Magius1. And they are informing us in chat that Cyrenus has now reached the shard count necessary to dive Topher. Is still checking treasure chests, so we will see what these bottom 3 have here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a little bit out here that you'd like to see. There's still 1 loose ribbon. The incentive ribbon is probably a lot of what we're still hunting for here, as well as maybe trying to come across another sword, or even just information for your teammate to help them catch up on the shard count.
Yeah. Or information like an Excal 2. Not bad sword to have.
Yeah, I mean, just a, casual.
And it's going to trade the Maza 2 to the White Mage down at the bottom of the calendar there.
It's not a bad idea, especially early on in the game where you're still clearing normal monsters and encounter packs. The Excalibur in our flag set here is all the weapons that are supposed to have quote-unquote an elemental affinity or a monster affinity have been fixed. Therefore, the Excal does have increased power against pretty much everything in the game that's not the in-game bosses.
Right. All right, so Cyrenus has found Marsh North at the end of this cycle, and is going to go ahead and plunder it. And looks like nothing really to write home about so far, but still, obviously, information is good. And you have a Hold 5 Bracer, which, admittedly, with the item magic being tossed around, it's, I guess that was supposed to be the Power Bracelet, and now it's the Hold Bracelet.
Yeah, it's one of our 2, either the Power Bracelet or the Zeus Gauntlet. However, most importantly, it is built off of a silver base, and 5 is higher than 3, so it is still a slight upgrade to get it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zar has plundered the Depths of Earth 2, and looks like Lyra is picking up some more magic in Elfland, which, especially after getting all your fighters grown up, you want to make sure that they have their magic, especially with that very beautiful Cure 4 available for knights, and then Heal 3 and Life 2 now a little bit more easily attainable for certain classes. So,
and that Life 2 being at level 3 slot 2 should be learnable knight as well.
Yeah. So that's definitely good news to have. I mean, especially since this Topher dive is going to be very interesting, as we have very much discovered. So, or at least, well, not discovered, but the clamps certainly tell us that it's going to be interesting. So you want to have all the help you can get, definitely.
Looks like Zenobians come across greater than less than, going to pick up their 4 jewels and their ribbon.
All of which are great prizes to have. Alright, so it looks like Cyrenus is about to go... Well, it is, leading up, at least, to the Volcano Incentive Chest. admittedly, and I guess, going to take that mage and fighter grind, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they're gearing up and getting themselves in the right mindset. Going to take this mage fighter, see how beefy they are, see if there's anything bad on the spell list we need to avoid, and where you go from there. Being pretty shallow, quick exit, quick run back in, can't fault them at all for this grind.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we've already seen Zenobian take their grind, and now I think this will do very well for Cyranus. Looks like good rolls of Fire 3 will pretty much take out, well, most of the lot at least. And it looks like those mages and fighters aren't really rolling too dangerous either, so that's definitely good news as Cyranus hits 19 and is probably going to, as Zenobian did, take that grind into the mid-20s to make sure that their fighters are good to go too. Especially because we know that Cyranus already has all 28 shards, so they can dive whenever they wish.
Yeah, it looks like they're passing up the idea. They don't want to continue looking for that last key item, the incentive ribbon, go running around the world. They're just like, I've got a wall stick. That'll save me what I need here. Let's just get some levels and get this going.
Right, yeah. Having a confirmed source of being able to essentially have a substitute ribbon there is an excellent thing to have, and especially because you can go ahead and line that up in turn 1 of a boss fight. And then you don't have to worry about anything like Bane or any of the more nefarious death spells having their way with any of the parties. And it looks like Czar has found a kindly old king who is in need of a piece of headwear, and is going to go ahead and heal up before all that happens, but does not have the headwear to give him, sadly.
No, unfortunately, hasn't quite picked that up.
Yeah. Having the key, though, it's still a good place to go because you can check those key locks and you can check the grind tiles there. So we'll see if there's anything good on those grind tiles.
Now, you may be thinking, based on just what you're seeing on the screen, man, Zenobian and Cyranus just out to a large lead. It's important to remember here that Cyranus has just absolutely blazed through this seed with a quick access to the air. We're less than an hour in, and you're already sitting 20 to 28, and you're picking up your final magic and doing your grind. This is incredible timing here. It's just absolutely a blistering pace being set through this seed, through all parties.
Yeah, absolutely. The Onrac teams, Zenobian and Cyranus, have been doing an excellent job all around. That should not take away from the skill of Zara and Lyra, because both of these teams are very good at what they do. To run a co-op seed at all, to be able to coordinate it in any way, takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and some very good knowledge of the game. So it should not take away from Zara and Lyra's ability that Zenobian and Cyranus are as far ahead as they are. It's simply a tribute to just how good Zenobian and Cyranus are at this. So it looks like Cyranus is going to, instead of continue on that mage and fighter tile grind, is going to go ahead and take advantage of the same grind tile that Zenobian has been using for a while. Meanwhile, it looks like, from what I could tell, if I saw it quickly enough, it looks like Zenobian is... Okay, I think Zenobian is on 21 shards, if I'm reading correctly.
Definitely well over there. I'm thinking we're up toward... Yeah, definitely. It looks like 21 shards, absolutely.
Yeah, good. I'm glad my eyes were doing something right tonight.
I don't think it's your eyes. I think it's just the blistering menu pace that everybody's setting here. It's almost impossible to get a look.
Yeah, that too. Alright, so it looks like Lyra is also going to go check out the key-locked items and take a gander at those grind tiles. Meanwhile, Cyranus and Zenobian obviously is still in shard hunting and is going to go knock aside a speed bump to help out in that search. But Cyranus is on grind and go mode, is almost on go mode, really. But it's just trying to get those last levels to be comfortable with Topher Dive before sailing in. And Lich serves as the speed bump that we all know and love. And Zenobian picks up two more jewels for their trouble and is now up to 23. So just a couple of good checks away from being able to start dusting this one off as well.
I may have missed it, but I do notice that Lyra does have a Vorpal +2. I'm not sure where that was picked up from, but that is a great pickup for the end game if you want to go with the double dealers here.
Absolutely, yeah. That is, especially if you are able to get a plus on that, you get an increase to those crits, and that really is the most potent part of the Vorpal Sword, is trying to get those crits, especially because we know that fast is at a not the friendliest level ever, so anything that can help enforce that damage in the absence of a lot of fast is definitely good to see. Zenobian is about to take on Carrie to get 2 shards from her, and, well, I don't think Carrie's going to last terribly long given the power of these parties.
Yeah, that's a 240 over 5 hits on a no fast, no temper. That is just a lot of output.
Yep, and that output is just going to get deeper as the turns go on. So, yeah, no dice, I would suspect, for Carrie. And 5 hits, 474, and Carrie gets out a Blaze, which takes down the Red Mage. So Carrie is not going down without a fight, just not not going to be able to last too much longer, and down she goes.
Yeah, definitely had a nice chunk of hit points there, and probably about the 1,300 done, but that last 1,000 damage shot just can't impossible to overcome.
Yeah, there's not a lot of enemies in this game that will get over something like that. Now, there certainly are a good few, and the Onrac team is about to encounter them, methinks, but there's not many that can brag that.
Looks like Sar has found everybody's favorite grind tile here.
And is going ahead and taking advantage of it. That's, considering the level situation that Zar and Lyra are in right now, it's definitely a good thing to be able to get a solid grind in. Although, unfortunately, it looks like they don't have either the same access or just the same numbers of spells that Zenobian and Cyranus had, because they're going for straight out just kind of whack them upside the head grind, which is doable, just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's one of those things, if you haven't gotten at least some intermediary levels, when you do finally find one of these quote-unquote in-game grind tiles, you're running into a problem, especially with the magic having rolled as high as it did. Nuke, I believe, on 4 or 5, and then, Fade on super high. I think the Fade was on 8, Nuke was on, I think, 6. It's just getting the charges so that you can get the ball rolling and then get it going from there.
Yeah, this one of the things, as we see Zenobian take on a carry fight and going with, looks like full-on Brack strats. Yep, there we go. It's one of those things that it's certainly something that I've found as a relatively newer runner to the game. It has admittedly been a little bit of a wall for me in some of my seeds, is momentum, like you said. If you can get momentum going early, if you can get some good levels early, get some good exploration early, then that will just send you careening forward, as we've seen on Zenobian and Cyranus' side. But if you don't get those levels, or you're not really able to get a foothold on the seed, then it can lead to some, unfortunately, more sloggy results, as we're kind of seeing on Zar and Lyra's side. They are certainly putting up a very great fight, and it is definitely a tribute to them that they are pushing through. They just haven't been able to find quite the foothold that Zenobian and Cyranus have found.
Meanwhile, Zenobian having a little bit of problem here as Kraken shrugs off a 7th and an 8th Brack.
Uh-oh. Oh dear, that reminds me of earlier seeds too.
Oh, but takes it on the 9th, finally bracking the Kraken.
Yeah. Well, hey, 9 times might be a lot, but I think Zenobian will take it, considering that finishes out their shard count. And now both of our runners on Team Onrac are ready to enter the Temple of Fiends Revisited, provided some last-minute item checks and all that good stuff.
Yeah, make sure your heal pots are stocked up. Make sure you've got all your important magic. You've got your fasts, your lives, your locks, your tempers.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's one of those things that, especially as you're getting ready for an end game like this, whether it's a simpler seed where the bosses are not capped as they are, or a seed like this where they're clamped at least 100%, and they're probably going to roll a fair bit higher than that. you want to absolutely make sure that your magic is good to go, that your items are good to go, that they're set up as you want them to be. Because that sort of thing, that little bit of preparation can end up saving you a lot of time on the back end.
Yeah, and Zenobia and Cyranus have just a small smidgen leg up in knowledge, knowing that one of those nuclears at least is out of the pool.
Right. Yeah, knowing that will certainly help. As Zenobian enters Temple of Fiends Revisited at 1 hour, 7 minutes, 50 seconds, we will see how they progress through the temple and see what the Fiends have in store for us this evening. Well, at least the second Fiends, anyway.
Just got to dive down through some unfortunate floors here. Find some Frosties on the Phantom tile.
Oh dear.
With Cremate.
Yeah, those Frosties apparently they resent not being invited to the party, and they wanted to make sure our Light Warriors knew it. Oh, hi. Hello, another ribbon.
Oh wow, a ribbon in one of the final two chests that you're, except in very rare circumstances, ever going to see a runner check here, known as affectionately as our version of the validations, and just finding that other loose ribbon that's just icing.
Absolutely, that makes the revisited fight a good bit easier, especially because you don't have to worry now so much about throwing that wall staff around.
Yeah, the only question now is do you want the extra survivability? Put it on a mage. You know, your fighter's at least covered by the Aegis shield, which is going to protect from a good bit of the instant death stuff, short of the time magic. But do you want that 100% survivability as well as the extra resistances?
Yeah, it looks like Zenobian equipped it on the fighter, so I'm going to make sure that the heavy physical offense is protected against anything that the Fiends can throw at them, except really heavy punches, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. We got two ribbons. One goes on the person that keeps people alive. The other one goes on the person that smacks things.
Yep.
Blink and you miss it. We have a speed bump part 2. Also goes by the name of Lich.
And definitely not blink and you miss it for the red mage. 3 hits, 3 damage, 3 bruised egos, I think.
Lich seems to have rolled a little bit of evasion and absorb here. He's trying to break out of that speed bump moniker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, even the Fiends deserve respect. Or not.
However, his hit points did not roll so well.
No. Lich was very evasive, but once you hit him, he had a glass jaw. Meanwhile, Siren is telling us 3 times that there is nothing on the grind tile. We appreciate the knowledge.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably going to exit out here. He's about 33 across the board and absolutely loaded for bear on these stats. It's going to be probably a pretty nice grind, a nice easy trip through Topher at those levels, short of something very bad happening once we reach our first real roadblock in Kraken.
Well, something at least interesting that happened is Carrie has Cure 4.
Yeah, seeing Cure 4 on an early Fiend, great. Seeing it first on the spell list, even better.
Yep. Because then you don't have to worry about it causing problems later, and Zenobian is happily reveling in that. So now Zenobian on the seafloor and cruising through the seafloor. Look at this hero run. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, if you want to find your longer hero run, it's good to find it on the water floor.
Oh god, yes. Yes, this water floor has caused nightmares for many runners, and I count myself very much among them. Alright, so as we get the Kraken 2 fight going, we have, looks like a lock, we have, I suspect, we have Invis 2 from the Red Mage, or from the Red Wizard and White Wizard. And going to be essentially prepping Kraken for some open tentacle surgery. 3 hits, I believe 286 from the fighter just starting out. So that's pretty good to see going on early on. And then Krak goes through and does absolutely nothing to anybody. So good news for Zenobian. We have Tempers on the fighter. We have, looks like an Invis 2. A couple of Invis 2s. And the fighter obviously doing fighter things. Kraken hits for 526 and blows the Black Mage back to next week. So, sorry, Black Mage.
Yeah, the poor black wizard going back 2,000 years into the future with that tentacle slap. Meanwhile, unfortunately, Lyra taking a nasty death to carry.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate to see, definitely.
Yeah, this is kind of where it comes back and you start thinking a little bit. The exploration, definitely full value here. We're going to need a little bit more levels under your belt in order to start taking down some of these mid-range fiends.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, a powered-up fighter delivered 5 hits, 791 damage, and Kraken 2 went down in a very sushi-friendly heap. So now, Zenobian is going to make their way to the Tia floor, and we shall see what Tia 2 has in store for us this evening. Alright, so Zar has plundered the greater than less than floor, and it looks like Lyra is about to make their way to Onrac and Waterfall. Sierra is heading into the volcano to pick up some last minute spells from Gaia, or at least last minute items anyway. And we have ourselves a Tia 2 fight on Zenobian's side, using one of those level 8 fasts on the fighter. Ink fortunately doesn't hit the fighter, so good news there. Invis 2 on the white mage gets through. Fighter hits, I believe 8 hits 162 is what I saw. Then two stacks of Invis 2, and it looks like we have more preparatory strats. So Invis 2 on, okay, so, well, it looks like the fighter is going to be fighting 6 hits 294. Temper on the fighter. Red mage gets hit, but doesn't go down, fortunately. The strategy obviously being to buff up the fighter as much as possible, and everybody's going to do that as much as they can. So more tempers on the fighter, and Tornado from Tia is going to almost take down the red mage, but not quite. 3 hits, 590. And so Tia is still standing and putting up a pretty good fight, but the party is continuing to temper and swing. And we get a swing from the fighter. 8 hits, 1507, I believe I saw, and down goes Tia.
Yeah, just Ginsu'd those heads into multiple pieces.
Oh, yes. And unlike the mythical Hydra, when you lop off one of Tia's heads, 2 more don't grow back, so thank goodness, Light Warriors. On Zar and Lyra's side, it looks like Zar is exploring the waterfall area, and Lyra has found the greater than, less than floor for themselves. Meanwhile, Zenobian is getting ready to take on Chaos. Starting out with a fast on the fighter. We have Invis 2 going out to try to make all of our Light Warriors, of course, a little bit tougher to try to pin down. Fast goes on the fighter. Chaos starts out with Ice 2, so that's a pretty generous first turn from Chaos. So all of our strats are able to get out, and Cyranus enters Topher at 1 hour 15 minutes as Zenobian is getting the fighters ready. Looks like Zenobian is pulling out a heal 3 just in case. 13 hits from the fighter. Heal 3 comes through to heal up the party. Chaos hits the red mage pretty hard, but doesn't take them down. But the temper strat's going around, and basically the same strategy that Zenobian has used for the other light warriors, they are using for this one, and obviously to good effect. Stuns the black mage, but that's certainly not the worst thing in the world. 5 hits, 563. Red Wizard gets Cure Forward up, and Invis 2 comes across to get everybody all dodgy. We have more Tempers, more Invis 2s. Bane comes out, takes down the Black Mage, or Black Wizard, the Red Wizard, and 7 hits, 625. Invis 2 comes across, so 2 of our Light Warriors are down, sadly. However, that fighter is pretty much Ginsu'd up, so hopefully fighter will be able to carry things through. 7 hits, 471, more Temper, and more of the Temper Stick. Definitely doing its work. 7 hits, 866. Nuke comes across and does some pretty good damage, but does not take down either fighter. 8 hits, 1232, and Zenobian has terminated Chaos. So GG to Zenobian, finishing, according to the on-screen timer, at about 1 hour 17 minutes. But it is worth noting that in order to win a co-op seed, both fighters have to finish. So it's not just one, it needs to be both of them finishing Chaos off.
Yep, and as he's finishing, Lyra breaks his keystone here and is headed on down toward his first of these 4 Refiend refights.
Yep, as Cyrannus confronts the Frost Giants and the Frost Wolves here. We'll see how well Cyrannus' dive went. Zenobians seems to go pretty smoothly by and large. I mean, the only thing that really seems to be any big deal was that nuke that Chaos had, but even that wasn't that big of a deal in the scope of things because Zenobian had those levels and was definitely prepared to take those hits.
Yeah, the nuke's a little ways down. You've got the Bane before it, but both are telegraphed by the Ice 2, so you've got a little bit of buffer time before you have to start worrying about the stuff that's really gonna, start troubling you. You're gonna be able to get a couple of your buff spells off before you have a chance of losing your red and black wizards.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Cyrannus is pretty well set up to take this dive as they go after Speed Bump 2, aka Lich 2. So I'm going to go ahead and it's like preparing with, getting Wall on the fighter, Temper on the fighter. So making sure that any instant death stuff doesn't hit anything. So the fighter hits 4 hits, 461, and Lich coming out with Lit 2. So not the worst start in the world, but still hurts a little bit. It'll be tempering the fighter, swinging, 5 hits, 483, and Lich 2 goes down as the speed bump that we all know and love.
Sar headed back out into Mermaid, and it looks like Lyra's headed south through Marsh Split. I believe that is going to be down toward our Earth 1 floor.
Yes, I believe so. That was the one that we were talking about being not even randomized. Or at least these two floors anyway. And Zar picking up that gold 3 bracelet, which is definitely very much appreciated, that's for sure. Looks like Cyrannus is finding the wrong side of the Agamas, though. Those Agamas seem to be hitting with pretty hard. I missed what they were throwing at the fighters, but we've got the Red Wizard and Black Wizard are down for the count.
Yeah, it looks like those are Lit 3 Agamas.
Oh dear. Yeah, that'll kind of do it. Lit 3 is a bit of an underrated spell as far as your big damage spells go. That's one that we didn't see on Zenobian's side, so it's a little bit of a revelation here.
Yeah, he ran when Zenobian ran into that encounter on the fire floor. Instead of rolling all the Agamas, it rolled 1 red giant, 1 Agama, and he managed to get away from it before seeing anything from him.
Yeah. Alright, so for the Carry 2 fight, we've got, of course, the fighter focus with the Tempers and Invis. First hit was in the 400s, the second hit was in the 500s, and Carry was in the dustbin. Alright, so it looks like on Zar and Lyra's side, they are very much in the shard gathering business. It looks like Lyra has found Matoya's floor, and Zar has found the lucrative Cardia. Or, well, the most lucrative Cardia, I should say. Cyrannus, unfortunately, not having quite the same breathtaking hero run through the water floor that Zenobian did, but then again, Zenobian's floor was 1 in a million, so I mean that's certainly no shirking to Cyrannus whatsoever. So yeah, we have our... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, coming up on Kraken 2, looks like we're going to go ahead and get some buff strats out. Going to get out some Tempers. Kraken leading off with that Fire 3. Invis 2 coming out from the White Mage. Going to buff up the party. A little bit of evasiveness under their belts in case he decides to start swinging. Nice 299 crit pretty fast with only 1 Temper on from the Knight here. Those extra levels definitely showing off the paying off a little bit here for Cyrannus.
Absolutely.
More Temper strats. Rub failed to go through. A little bit of advantageous as it happened on one of your unribboned fighters. 2 more Temper axes coming down. Oh, that's a black backline White Mage, however. Thankfully, I do believe we have some some life spells still remaining on both our Red Wizard as well as hopefully we have some life spells remaining on our fighter.
Absolutely, and we're checking now, and it looks like not so much. So Cyrannus is going to be on 2-man strats from here on out.
And running into the fabled Iron Goals here.
Hey, we have a tournament about those guys. Y'all should tune in. It's great.
Getting those heal pots off. Maybe double check and make sure that ribbon's moved over to our lone remaining warrior here.
Yeah, doing the weapons checks. Didn't end up doing any of the armor checks though. So I guess Cyranus is confident that those ribbons are in the right places.
Alright, we get fast and temper off. We get ink on the back end. Doesn't hit anybody. We're tempering up with our axes here. Oh, but Tiamat's not playing around. That was about a 4 or 500 hit melee. Out comes the Tornado, does decent damage. Probably better than a melee swing here, however. It's going to be all about trying to get through and power through, and luckily gets through on only 2 swings of the Massa.
Wow. Yeah, like you said earlier, those levels are definitely shining through right now.
So we know that Cyranus is coming up to Chaos. Cyranus from their partner probably knows as well here that, you've got a couple of turns, but you've got a Bane on the table, you've got a Nuke down on the table, you've got to get ahead and get your buffs up early, get them up fast, and get some damage in. Chaos also a little bit on the beefier side. I want to say I counted about 3,500, roughly.
Well, your math must be a lot better than mine because I have to admit I was so busy calling that I wasn't counting, so I'm glad you handled on that end.
Choosing to leave that knight up front, I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll see how it plays out. There goes the fast, the Ice 2 comes out, we know that the Bane's coming through next if we go to the casting well. 2 tempers, the stun comes out, of course doesn't get through the ribbon. And there's the Bane, misses the Black Mage, thankfully. I think we did move that ribbon over. Now we know that next is coming the big one here. Depending on and there it is. There's the nuke. Thankfully, the Black Wizard does stay up here. Oh, lucky Cure 4 getting turn order going first as Chaos decides to backline that Black Mage, but he doesn't go down still. Wow, looked to be about 5-7 hits for about 1,300 damage. And here comes the Whole Day and Pray. About another 1,300, was that right?
I believe so, about 1,200 or so.
So definitely those extra levels, all those tempers, and there's the Terminated with 1,230.
Alright, so GG to Cyranus on defeating Chaos, and that finishes out the co-op with an official FFR bot time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 28.5 seconds. GG to Zenobian and Cyranus. They take game 2, and they are officially the winners of this round of the co-op tournament. So congratulations to both.
Yeah, definitely GG. That was well played, very fastly played, very just amazing routing all around. Also, Zar, Lyra, they're not done yet. They ain't throwing in the towel. They're gonna power through this and get to the end here and see how they can do again their own coming up.
Absolutely. And it looks like we have Cyranus here in the chat. So GG, Cyranus. Congratulations.
GG, thank you.
So, how do you feel about being in the air after about 10 minutes?
Good. Yeah, no, I always feel great about that.
Yeah, that was, obviously when you run a seed like that, when you have the free ship and free canal, when you can get out of the inner sea very quickly, there's a possibility that you can have something like that. And oh boy, did you guys ever.
Yeah, no, I was very happy to see that, especially considering the horrific magic we had to start with.
Oh yes, absolutely. We were in comms, we were both bemoaning the state of a lot of the magic that you guys were seeing.
It was pretty terrible. Yeah, and the fact that the Red Mage still couldn't learn Nuke even after promotion, the Red Mage was pretty worthless today. He was a heal bot.
Yeah. So I will say, just kind of as an overall, it really looked like you guys very much put on a clinic as far as routing was concerned, because obviously being in the air in 10 minutes helps, but being at shard count after an hour and essentially just being leveled away from being able to get into Topher, that is something else.
Early on, that we saw that we had the key in the loot like very early, and we're like, all right, now all we need is shards and levels.
Yeah. So as I was mentioning on comms, that when you're able to put together things as you guys did, that is a tribute to routing and communication. So definitely kudos to you guys on that.
Yeah, and we found that horrific dungeon with both splits is, God, it feels like that always happens.
Well, that's just a feature of a floor and entrance randomizer.
Yeah.
Fun for everyone.
I'm assuming the crystal that was in ice, we're assuming, that we never found, leads to the incentive ribbon.
One would presume. I don't believe anybody has found that yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna pan back up to the notes just to make sure, but as far as I'm aware, nobody actually has that. I don't see it on either side on the trackers.
Looking at my notes, I'm guessing maybe Onrac Dungeon, because we did not have anything there.
Perhaps. Our tracker right now, Luffy, is pointing out that the Oxyale has not been located either.
Oh, well then there you go. That sounds about right then.
Yeah.
Sounds like we got to skip a lot of stuff, so I'm lucky we didn't have to go searching for it to find a key or something.
Oh yeah. I mean the demon of TFC did not rear its ugly head this time.
No, certainly not. Of course, with no loose items, it's
Yeah.
not gonna.
Yeah. Well, it could still rear its head in other ways, just not quite as ugly, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. It could have had all the ribbons.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, I was really happy to find the ribbon and like 4 chunks all on the greater than less than floor.
Yeah, we were just utterly aghast when we saw that, because the ribbon itself obviously would have made greater than less than a worthy trip anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But then to find 1/7 of your entire necessary jewel count just going, hello, 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 then holy mackerel.
And then looking into coming across that second ribbon in validation.
Yeah, my partner found that, and I was like, well, I'm sure glad someone checks those chests, because it wasn't going to be me.
Yeah. Well, that was definitely something too, because you guys, of course, already had the wall stick, so you had a way to well, make a fake ribbon, so to speak, or I don't know, an artificial ribbon, whatever you want to call it.
You don't want to have to use that, though. That's a waste of a turn. You could be using a temper axe.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, wasn't that a nice find?
That was a fantastic find. And yeah, when I went to go level, and he was like, yeah, if you go up to the north chest, there's another temper axe. I was like, yes, please, thank you.
Exactly. Especially since Fast moved in level 8. Oh boy.
Yeah, that was a little nasty. But that's just the way magic has worked for us.
Yeah. Well, it's also worth mentioning as well that if you get magic like that, it's definitely a tribute to good runners who can work around it and have strategies to compensate for that. It's certainly a skill I will admit that I need to work on as a runner myself. I've also I don't think I've played a seed with the item magic flipped around yet, so
it's a bit of a trip, because not being guaranteed the Invis 2 item is quite a treat. Sometimes you just get all like lit 1 items, and it just makes you want to cry.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I know some of that item magic, we were talking in chat about it, about say the Fear Gauntlet or there was a lit 1 weapon. I don't remember which weapon, but it was
I found it fairly early on.
Yeah.
I just disregarded it. It's like, it's lit 1. At least we found a Fire 2 stick. That at least could have been moderately useful.
Yeah, that has some utility, especially around those very spicy undeads.
Yeah, or if you happen to find a slime tile.
Yeah, that too. Speaking of grind tiles, so I noticed you did. I think you did a couple of grinds. Did you not? I think you went on a couple of grind tiles.
I tried the fighter mage tile,
Right.
and it was okay. It wasn't great. And then I just went to the tile that my partner had used because the Gershart Big Eye. That's a fairly decent tile.
Yeah.
The only other one I considered was unfortunately pretty deep down in that nasty split dungeon. There was a sandworm tile.
Yeah, we saw that one too.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I could probably make short work of that when I had the Masa, the X-Cow, and the thing split up between my people.
Right. But like you said, though, that being as deep as it was...
Yeah, I didn't want to walk down to it.
Right. Or have to walk back if the sandworms decided to pull out any surprises out of their pockets.
There is that.
Yeah, speaking of surprises out of their pocket, we noticed that we had to go a small change of strategy after Kraken decided that both your life casters would look better on the carpet.
Yeah, Kraken will do that sometimes. After that, I was just like, all right, speed and power. Throw that tempers, throw that fast, and we'll just start swinging. We got 4 charges of life 4. Cure 4. What more could you really need? And got pretty lucky with it. I hear Chaos actually hits pretty hard if he decided to swing his fists instead.
Yeah, Chaos had some pretty hard melees. Tia had some pretty hard melees too, but thankfully Tia went down in just 2 quick swings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a couple more levels than my partner. I was kind of counting on that at that point, that I'd be swinging a little harder than he was. No, unfortunately, a lot of my runs kind of end up that way in the end with, the solo man mode, 1 or 2 people left. I think you see a lot of that in the runners.
Hey, 1's greater than 0, and that's all you need.
When they take out your life caster, you just kind of have to shrug your shoulders and say, well, we're going to try. We're not going to give up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so with that, you guys officially take the round, or take week 1, and you guys are going to be moving on to face Team A.
Yeah, sure enough, we're going to face the Canadians. And they're a good team, so I wish we had practiced more.
Well, hey, I mean, it looks like, I would say from watching this seed tonight, I would beggar anybody to think that you guys hadn't practiced, because if anybody is just coming in, or maybe came in with Speed Gaming 2 raid and didn't get to see this whole seed, I would recommend that you go back and check the VOD, because essentially what you will witness is basically a clinic on how to do a co-op seed, especially when you get a quick transportation, and both runners did a very good job mapping things out and routing it out so that choice paralysis did not become a factor or a problem.
Yeah, I'm certainly very happy with the time. It's a lot better than our time from last night, which is really weird because last night we started with Nuke, and you'd expect that seed to be super fast and easy then, but it turned out not to be the case. This time we had horrible magic, and we got a much better time out of it, so I'm happy.
Hey, I mean, that's Rando doing Rando things in a lot of ways.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you had Bane. What more can you ask for?
Exactly. That paragon of level 1 magic.
Yes. It got me through the few fights it needed to, so I really can't fault it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Bane is a good piece of magic to have. I will confess that I've used it a fair number of times, but I don't use it as much as I need to as a runner. So, of course, I don't often run across it at level 1 either. So, maybe if I did, I'd use it more. But
only if you're forced to.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's really about being able to understand the utility of a lot of different strategies and being able to adjust on the fly, which is definitely something that comes with playing the randomizer and with getting a good bit of practice. And course, what that usually amounts to is running a practice seed, getting dumped on, running another practice seed, getting dumped on, and then hopefully figuring out where the poop's coming from before you're actually on camera.
All right, so it looks like our continuing runners here, Lyra has just finally pulled their crown out of Earth 3, looting out the Cardia treasure buried underneath the rod lock.
It looks like Lyra is up to 18 shards, if I read that correctly. So their shard hunt is going very well. And I see that Czar has decided to take on the sandworm trap tile that we were just talking about. And they are making mincemeat out of those worms. So the experience is definitely coming in handy. And that's bringing their levels up into the high 20s. So I believe Czar is getting themselves ready to, well, at least level-wise, to be able to go after Temple of Fiends Revisited.
I think that crown is another thing we never turned in unless my partner did it. I don't remember us ever seeing Astos' castle.
We've seen it a couple of times on our Vorpal side. I'm not 100% sure which entrance is buried under, but it's definitely down there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the notes to see if we can catch up on that, and I don't see that here, but our tracker is about to fill us in, so. But I think what happened was that Team Vorpals found Northwest Castle, but I don't think they had the crown when they found it. So
Right.
They weren't able to turn it in. But of course, speak of the devil, and here comes Lyra with the crown, and we find the Oxyale.
There you go.
Yep, looks like it was buried underneath Sarda, underneath Earth 2 here. Gonna go ahead and shock, gasp, awe. The kindly king was actually not so kindly in the end.
Oh my gosh, whatever do you mean?
And this presumably will lead to Ice Cave, which will lead to the crystal, which will lead to the ribbon. Probably.
There we go. Also, Lyra committing regicide and bully on them.
Some Baticide too, but none of us mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, just as long as you don't do it to the Hooray Dwarf, I think we're good. Alright, so it looks like, I think Lyra may also be the first runner to check the trap tiles here, as we see an Ankylo greeting us on the left and right side.
Lyra had already grabbed the chests, I noticed, so I'm guessing they probably checked the trap tiles the first time they were here. At least I think they would have.
They may have, but there may have been a little slip, especially of the trap tiles within the notes somewhere. Not just double checking them, deciding, hey, why not? I'm already here. I've already gotten the battle. Might as well kill it anyway. A little bit brave. I don't know if I'd have the bravery at any level sub 40 to deal with Ankylos. They can normally hit pretty hard.
Yeah. And that gets Lyra up to 13 and 14 levels wise, so it's starting to catch up. As Czar has pushed their, looks like a 3-man grind up into the low 30s. Enough that the sandworms are now running from them.
Yeah, unfortunately, one experience isn't going to get you very far when the sandworms start running.
No, not particularly.
That is the unfortunate problem with sandworms.
I mean, there's always the metal emu. I mean, all we knew is that it led off with nuclear.
Yeah, I ended up not having to fight him today. I usually go for that. I like to take out the bosses, but today I opened up my inventory and I was like, wow, I already have all my shards. I don't know how that happened.
Even here in the booth, we were like, okay, we're about 50 minutes in, and our trackers being helpful in chat, pointing out some shard counts, and it's like 22. Is that right?
Yeah. We were having to double check, just waiting for you to open the item menu, going, wait, oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I was down in that deep dungeon, and I opened my menu. It's like, all right, how many do I have? How many bosses do I have to go hunt down now to round out my number? And it's like, wait, they're all lit up. What am I doing down here?
Go Topher, young man, go Topher.
Let my partner worry about this now. It's not my problem anymore.
Yeah, upon the attempt to TM out your partner, very quickly made short work of those other ones. Not having quite the same brack luck, I believe it is, that you had.
Yeah. I was listening to him in comms. He had some bad luck. I think he had like 8 misses with his brack.
Mm-hmm. Yep, ninth time's the charm.
Yeah, I was joking with him that that's happened a couple times this week to people. It's not my preferred strat. Normally, I'm more than happy to just throw nukes and say, okay, it's going to take me 2 or 3 rounds, but at least I'm basically guaranteed to get there eventually. But today, I mean, all I had was brack. So it's like, all right, we're going to throw the bracks and pray. It's a short walk. It's worth it for 4 shards.
Well, it was a walk that paid off.
Oh, yeah,
Hey, if it takes the brack, every time. Looks like we're down to a 2-man grind on Czar here, just with the ninja and the fighter now.
That's where he's going to want the levels. I did see a katana out there. I think it was positive today. Was it +2?
+2,
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought I remembered. So that's going to definitely put in work in that Topher.
And we also have the Vorpal. If it's all about the crits, we do have a Vorpal +2. I'm not 100% sure where that turned up, but I do know that it has been found on the right side of our screens here.
Yeah, we did not see that either. At least I didn't. I may have missed it in the notes and been like, yep, I don't need that.
Lyra, if you check that last chest.
Yeah. Yes. Don't miss the last chest. And does not miss it.
I can't imagine they would have. I mean, their partner has it already. They have to know it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things where you mark on your sheet and you tell your partner, hey, you might want to get over here in like the next 5 minutes because weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a weapon you will almost always want to pick up. Even if you have something better for your knight, being able to throw that on your white mage or your black mage or your red mage or just anybody it has value.
Yeah. Was it you or Zenobian who put the Massa on your white mage or white wizard and then evoked the white samurai strats?
I did that not for my Topher dive, which is where I usually think of it, but for my grind, I certainly did it.
Well, it's interesting. I think the first time that I had heard anything about the white samurai strat was maybe a couple of weeks back in a race that, quite frankly, I've kind of forgotten about because all the comms sort of blur together after a while. But it's an interesting strat to be sure, and if you can pull it off, more power to you.
Oh yeah, no, it's if you have Ruse available, either to cast for herself or as an item, and especially today when you had the temper axes,
Yeah.
that white samurai can absolutely just go in and solo.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting close here. I think if I got a quick glance correctly, I think Czar's on 20, 21 or 22, maybe 23.
I'm not sure. I just saw that Lyra's on 20, so they're getting there. They're definitely making it. Czar has ridiculously high levels on that fighter and ninja now, so you got power for days. It looked like both of them are at 20.
Yeah, Czar's are just going to be on cleanup though. 40 on your two strikers, and I believe mid-30s on everybody else.
Yeah. So levels for days. That's what you want to see, definitely.
Lyra unfortunately has a little bit of a grind ahead of him though.
Yeah. I think Lyra level-wise is probably around, I believe, mid-teens at this point.
Yeah, well, on the last menu it looked to be 14, 15 across the board.
Okay. Yeah, well, still, Brack strats will serve nicely as they're going after Kraken. I think that certainly worked out well for you, and has generally worked out for a lot of runners in the past.
Yeah, it's good odds. I mean, I don't know what it is, 25%, 36%, something in there. But it'll get you there, absolutely, most days.
Yeah. I've always heard 25, or at least right around there myself.
For Brack on Kraken 1, 25. I'm not 100% sure. I know that's Quake on Lich 1 though.
Which I did land today.
Yeah, we saw he took the delicious cake pretty quick off on the first cast.
You sure did. I hope that made Dingwoo happy.
Yeah. Lich was a hungry, hungry boy today. Or hungry, hungry hippo, I guess, if you want to keep the alliteration going.
Normally, I don't even buy cake. It's like, Lich is such a pushover that it's like... But today I was like, sure, why not? I will do this just for you, Dingwoo.
Carrie coming out with that blaze. Unfortunately, not going to do a lot against warriors of this level.
And unfortunately, that Kraken backrode his Black Mage, so it will not be a Brack strat day.
No, this is going to be a fight through and through here. Nice 427 from the fighter, though.
I mean, unless she has Brack on that ninja, the ninja should have Brack in theory.
I think the level 1 spell charges were empty.
Yeah, unfortunately, at those levels, probably don't have any charges yet.
Oh, that's right, because she was 14. They don't get them till 15 plus.
Right. Yeah, so they had the spell, they just didn't have charges of it. But fortunately, Kraken went down the conventional way, so Lyra was able to get those shards. So going back to Corneria for some much needed R&R and a little bit of picking up off the carpet of the Light Warriors. So looks like Lyra has 24 shards and Zar is jogging his way around to go serve probably some tasty Brack strats to Kraken, although really with these levels, Zar can pretty much do whatever they want.
Yeah, at this point, his ninja and his knight are both pretty much sushi chefs for poor Bracken.
Oh, yes. Well, it looks like Zar's gonna fight Kraken straight as well, because we've got Tempers and Invises coming out.
Yeah, now it is a side note here. The Zar probably needed to go a little bit higher on these levels because of the lack of fast. Having no Black Wizard in the group and being locked out at 8 is just going to be relying straight on Tempers to get through all of Topher here.
Yeah. Yeah, so that Temper Axe is going to pay some big dividends. Alright, so Fighter takes down Kraken and we get some more shards in Zar's inventory.
Yeah, that's a gamble I have not been willing to take on these flags. Bringing a red mage but no black mage has just always scared me because you could get locked out of fast and temper potentially and just have to go with pure levels, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot about comfort and a lot about how brave are you willing to be. I know that personally, a lot of runners, myself included, I used to not bring white mages, but for especially this tournament, I've just had to break down to bringing black and white both because you don't want to get to a feels bad point when you're like, okay, I'm not bringing like a white mage, and all of a sudden level 1 slot 2, there's your fade, or slot 4, there's your life 2.
Right.
Or level 1, there's your exit.
That always feels good.
Yeah, if one thing that you could say about today with the early Provoca and the early Magic or Exit and Warp, at least you could move around pretty fast.
No, level 1 exit, it just feels good. Because you're actually free to start diving some of these floors. You can get down to floor 4 and be like, okay, I'd love to push on, but I just don't have the resources, and you can exit out and not completely forfeit the last 10 minutes of your playing.
So Czar, for his last 2 shards, looks to be coming up on the Bridge of Destiny here. He's going to fight himself a robot emu that is going to tell him to bite their shiny something.
Shiny metal something. We can't forget that last part.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey. I'm sure it took a lot of shiny metal to make Warmech. I mean, we might as well, give tribute to all of its shiny parts. All right, looks like Library's gotten some pretty quick levels on the Gershark Big Eye tile, which, of course, well, pretty much everybody's taken so far, with the exception of Czar taking those sandworms.
It's an excellent tile.
Yeah, I definitely say it's probably the most solid of all of them that you found here. Short of maybe, I believe there was a Gasty tile, but I think that was no, or was that in Topher proper?
I never saw it. The only place I saw Gasties was in Topher.
It might have been a random encounter then. But we got Tempers going out. We got a melee going out, but the Knight still just takes it like a champ and is still up.
Yeah, no, defenses were pretty good this time. A lot of stuff rolled up. The gold bracelets, the pro rings. The Aegis was +1, which is always nice to see.
You had a hold shirt, which was actually +5 on whoever it went on.
Oh, I did not pick that up. That would have sounded wonderful. That should have been the black shirt, I believe. Because I think I found the one that was the white shirt, but it was a +0.
Alright, Lyra's still grinding up to 22. We finally got some fights going out trying to get through the mech. Mech coming back with Fire 3. Unfortunately, 3 hits 106 is not what you want to see when you're fighting Warmech after a bunch of Tempers.
No, that's no fun at all. Although 24,000 experience. Oh, sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. 24 on everybody, stacking those levels up still. So, Cyranus, any thoughts going forward? Any thoughts on your advancing on the flag changes for next week? Anything of that coming up?
We've actually not taken a look at anything for next week. So I know the flags change because I did run a race with Gregley earlier in the week. I think we get random treasure now, low wealth or something.
Yeah, it goes to low wealth treasure, and the incentive changes from Corneria Lock to Marshlock, and our clamps go up by 30%.
Yeah, so the clamps going up by 30% doesn't really change a whole lot. We tend to prepare for a pretty bad Topher, at least on my part. I may have over-prepared a bit today. But I wanted to, just in case my partner wiped out a Topher, I wanted the extra levels, so when I went in, I could just one-shot it while he was gaining the last few levels. But no, I mean, low wealth is a little scary. You never know. You might not find ribbons, and that's always a frightening prospect. Or you could find, 4 ribbons, like they did earlier today.
Absolutely.
I'm a little sad that I missed that. Drat you, work. Alright, so it looks like Czar is content with their grind, and they have entered Topher at 1 hour 57 minutes. And they get to meet the unrunnable gas Ds that our tracker was mentioning a moment ago in our speed gaming chat.
Yeah, they were not a pleasant find. At which point my partner yelled at me for not power cycling when I went into Topher, because apparently he saw no unrunnables.
Yeah, and he also had that amazing run on the water floor of one single water encounter toward the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes.
And that was off the power cycle. I rarely power cycle entering Topher. I mean, I get the reason why people do. It's just not something I personally do very often.
And thank you, Speed Gaming 3, for coming in with a hot rate of 48 here. Welcome to the end of our co-op final 2020 Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament. This was the Onrac. Karen, you're better with that than I am.
Onrac Oviparity Theater.
Thank you. Against our Vor pals, our Onrac Oviparity Theater has actually taken the victory here. However, we got a couple of brave souls who are absolutely not going to let this seed get them down. Zara has already just entered Topher just a couple of minutes ago as Lyra's finishing up their grind here. We do know that we have us a Topher in general that is going to be just a hair on the easier side, with the exception of a very powerful Punch Kraken and Chaos Hiding and Nuke not so far down his spell list.
I will also add my welcome to everybody coming in from Speed Gaming 3. Welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Co-op Tournament. If you have seen any of these matches before, you know what fun these runners have had. If you have not, welcome in. Enjoy the fun. You guys are coming in right as we get toward the close of affairs. It has been a grand time all around.
Yes, for anybody curious what you've missed, we had a very interesting start to the seed. We had almost negligible to none at all of early actual HP damaging magic happening early on Bane. All of our white magic showed up, however, with early Cure 4s, Heal 3s, and Life 2s. And our runners were in the air as early as 10 minutes in the game. So we definitely had the trademarked quote-unquote jet seed going on.
It's also worth noting we had very early exit and warp spells, which are both our sort of exploration spells, and that was definitely important because these co-op flags are floor and entrance and town randomizers, shuffles, so your entrances did not necessarily go to the places you thought they were going to, and very rarely did they actually, so those were important to have also. It's been quite the seed, let me tell you. All right, it looks like Zar took down Lich 2 like the speed bump it was, and so is onto the carry floor.
Yeah, Zar has fantastic levels on that Knight and Ninja. It's just going to absolutely chew through these bosses.
Yeah, the only concern is that he's coming in on a very similar encounter cycle to you had. He could be running into... Nope, that actually misses those Lit 3 Agamas.
Yeah, I was going to say, how about those guys?
I was joking with my partner about it. He's like, you better not wipe to an unrunnable. I came into the fight already just incredibly weak, completely disrespecting the floor. Did they have Lit 3? I think it was just Lit 2 that I saw.
I thought they had Lit 3. I believe that's what our tracker said.
I'm pretty sure it was Lit 3, yeah.
It may have been. It definitely hurt. I know that both my Knight and my White Mage were down on a knee with double-digit HP. But Cure 4s came out. It was just a whole bunch of bonus experience for the Knight. That's how I chose to look at it.
Yeah, our tracker is confirming that it was indeed Lit 3, so...
That explains why it hurt so much.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple quick rounds of melee, and even with a nuclear in the mix, carry goes down. We're now onto the Kraken floor.
And we'll see which experience on this floor that Zar gets. Does he get the Zenobian breeze through, or does he get a little bit more of a stumble as you had?
Yeah, luckily enough, nothing was really evasive today. There was no need for lock throughout all of Topher.
Yeah, it seemed like everything was kind of glass cannon-y. Everything did some damage, but took it pretty well and wasn't very evasive. You didn't have many problems getting hits in.
That's always the fear with these clamps as high as they are. They absolutely can be evasion capped, which completely slows things down and forces you to play defensive and put up those locks. Or go with nuke strats, which wasn't really much of an option today.
Yeah, all your good black magic just seemed that it was going to take the night off and sit in the booth here with us.
Which, I mean, we're happy to have black magic in the booth. I mean, it keeps us warm. Although in the summer you may not want that, but depends on what side of the globe you're on.
So Lyra seems to have finished her grind and is heading a little bit deeper here into this part of the world. Going for Tia, gonna want to get those shards here. Not sure if they exited out to keep those levels or not.
I don't believe so. I certainly didn't see it at any rate.
Okay, did actually exit out, save the levels, come in here, and gonna take them on a robot chicken.
Yeah, I'd have to believe they would. I mean, when you're grinding on the first floor, I'll take the 2 seconds to exit out and save.
So, on the top side here, Czar finally threw this 100 encounters on water.
Never what you want to see. Water floor is just always terrible.
Alright, so we have dual power fights here. We have Kraken 2 on Czar's side and Warmech on Lyra's, and unfortunately it looks like Warmech has taken down Lyra's Black Mage, so there goes one of those sources of tempering up the fighter. Meanwhile, Czar is locking and invis-2ing to make sure that everybody is good to go as far as swinging around. So
Blaze taking out the ninja as well. So we're just, looks like we're not going for the spells here. We're just tempering.
Yep. And unfortunately, it looks like the hits are not landing terribly well for Lyra.
Yeah, all that evasiveness from Topher ended up on Warmech.
Oh, there you go. 411 is definitely a lot better on the robot chicken. Meanwhile, it looks like Czar is continuing on with the same swing and temper strats as before, and also using a fair number of locks as well.
Unfortunately, it looks like the fighter will not be partaking in any of these, seeing as how he's being a floor warmer at the moment. And there's a Thunder.
Yeah, I was going to say, Czar, the way that Czar's preparing and trying to push all these spells, Kraken's getting pretty deep on the list. I think deeper than we've seen up to this point. Although I think we may have seen that rub before. I couldn't remember if it was on Kraken or someone else.
It was on Kraken. I think we've come back around on the list.
Okay.
Oh, maybe. Well, there's Swirl. That's off the skill list. Playing it safe with these Cure 4s here. I mean, when you've got the charges... Oh, never mind. Terminated.
Yeah, no need. Alright, so first move is to pick Mike back up, understandably. And it looks like Lyra is about to make a second attempt at Warmech.
Czar coming up, doing some quick checking here, moving people around, prepping out for Tia. Being careful, Invis 2, Lock, gonna play this by the book, play it safe.
See Lyra using some Fog 2 strats here. So hey, I mean, use it if you've got it, I guess.
Get those cheeky fogs up. Unfortunately, down goes the Black Mage again to that Fire 3.
Yeah, that Fire 3 is definitely not what the doctor ordered for the poor Black Mage back there.
It doesn't look like we have lock on the Ninja, unfortunately, either.
Oh, still, looks like Lyra's being able to get in some better. Well, I say that before that one damage came in, but it looked like at least the couple of swings in the previous round had done a lot better. Unfortunately, a Cure 4 falls by the wayside when the Thief gets put down first. But on Czar's side, Tia 2 goes down, and Czar is now about to go after Chaos.
Yeah, this Chaos with its spell list and its lack of evasiveness, I don't think it's going to stand up onto this Withering double melee storm that long and altogether.
No. Meanwhile, Lyra takes down Warmech and gets that nice experience on the two remaining party members. So level 36 on the Fighter and White Mage should, I think, work pretty well throughout the rest of everything. So it looks like round one, Czar's round one against Chaos is fully preparatory. Invis 2s on a couple of the fighters, lock on Chaos, and then Temper just to try to get everybody ready. That Ice 2 does Ice 2 things, which doesn't do too much, fortunately. And so we have continued Invis and Temper strats just trying to get ready for that big punch. And the Fighter and the Ninja, it looks like they're both going to be doing the punching. 5 hits, 821 from the Fighter. And then Dave tempering the Fighter, so it is going to be solo swing strats, it seems. And from the first hit, it looks like it was in pretty good evidence. So Invis 2's continuing to come out, Temper's continuing to come out, so putting all the weight on the Fighter right now, at least most of it. 5 hits, 562. Bane comes through, takes out the White Mage, but nobody else, fortunately, so most of the party is still good to go. Temper on the Fighter, and it looks like swinging with both the Fighter and the Ninja this time. 5 hits, I believe 620, and then 6 hits, and that one blinked a little too fast. But continued, I think 3 hits in the 200s, 6 hits, so the hits are coming in. It's just a question of, are they going to be able to get through all the punches before Chaos is able to unleash a little bit of the more disastrous stuff. And it looks like it is indeed successful. 5 hits, 737, and Chaos is terminated on Czar's side. So GG's to Czar, and it now leaves Lyra with 28 shards to go into Temple of Fiends Revisited to finish out for the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Good fight there by the book. Just playing down the double melee strat, focusing on your Fighter there. Lyra, in the meantime, gets through Tiamat. Much easier time than the Warmech. And is going to be headed out to Topher themselves.
All right, so we will see what sort of preparatory that Lyra makes. I would assume just stocking up on items and any missing magic, just making sure everything is good to go before heading into the castle, which, of course, I mean, obviously is just good strategy to begin with.
Yeah, there's nothing you hate to see more than you're getting into Topher, and then you suddenly realize, oh, I forgot a spell, or oh, I forgot heal potions.
Yeah, I've made that mistake once or twice. Not completely forgetting potions, but definitely not remembering to fully stock up on them and to make sure that I was ready to go before hopping in. And honestly, it's a pretty humbling thing to realize that you've sort of goofed it on that. And it looks like Lyra has entered into Topher at 2 hours, 12 minutes, and is going to make the cruise down to those final floors of the game. I think, generally speaking, I think the levels should be pretty fine. I mean, we've seen success at those levels from just about everybody else. So I think Lyra will find success on their run down the floor. And of course, now that we've seen what's in those validation chests, we hope that there's a check, but we shall see.
Yeah. Did Czar check those? I may have missed
Czar did find the ribbon, so
them.
I have to assume Lyra will.
No, wait.
Ooh.
Lyra needs no ribbon.
So I assume Lyra just going ahead and going, you know what? Let's just finish this thing off. Let's cap it all and go home.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I can think of. It's one of those times when I'm hoping that Czar did indeed communicate to Lyra that there was that ribbon in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either just something that didn't get communicated, or Lyra perhaps was content with the one ribbon and the wall stick to be able to prevent against any instant death shenanigans. But we shall see.
Respecting the Lich here, just gonna go ahead and heal up. Doesn't want any mistakes coming through.
Where's the fun in that? Always disrespect Lich.
Well, as somebody who's usually the second teammate in the Topher, I can usually afford to disrespect Lich unless my teammate goes owl first turn nuclear or something.
Yeah, being the second one in, certainly you have that info, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, it looks like we're actually joined in the booth by Czar here. GG, sir. Congratulations on your finish.
GG, thank you. GG, Cyrnus and Zenobian. Quite a time there. Excellent work, guys.
Yeah, I'm certainly very happy with it. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Czar, tell us what did you think of the seed overall?
Well, I had some really costly wipes. I took a wipe in Mirage 2 there, right before I got to that group of chests. It turned out there were 4 jewels there. I tried to get back into there. I wiped again. I later discovered from my partner Lyra that there was a katana down there and an Excalibur as well.
Yeah, that entire dive was just absolutely front-loaded, from the ribbon and 4 shards to the katana for you guys running the ninjas, and then the X-Cal. It was just an absolutely bonkers set of floors.
I knew I was going to have to take levels because fast was not available to my party.
Yeah, you definitely did. I mean, getting up into the 40s on your damage dealers, even just blowing through Topher there, and thankfully nothing was very evasive. Well, it seems that, like we had mentioned, all the evasion was stacked on the war mech this time.
Well, at any rate, I sure did have a lot of fun. Regardless, win, lose, or draw, I joined this tournament to have fun, and I certainly have had fun. The staff, the administration has been extremely helpful. I'd like to express my gratitude to them. And thank you all for coming in tonight and enjoying the show. Thank you, commentators, Speed Gaming. Always a pleasure to work with all of you.
Well, we definitely appreciate it, and thank you guys for racing and for providing us with such a good time tonight. It's one of those things that, of course, anything like this is obviously a community effort, and it definitely speaks well, I think, to this community that we have good runners, that we have people who are definitely willing to help out, and that, like you said, you came to have fun, you had fun, and you're walking away content with that. So we definitely appreciate it, and certainly wish you the best in any endeavors in which you participate, whether they be solo, co-op, or whatever the crazy brains behind the scenes at Final Fantasy Randomizer can come up with.
Well, I certainly thank you. Always a pleasure. And quick shout out, thank you to the devs as well. The devs always do wonderful work for the community and the randomizer. Truly amazing what they continue to do with it.
I have to agree with that. They are always giving us amazing new features. It seems like every month there's something new coming out for the randomizer that just blows us all away.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like the devs just keeping up and giving us all kinds of new things with which to torture ourselves.
I'm just getting to my feed now. See how my partner's doing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, but if you choose to do it yourself, can you really call it torture?
A little bit of self-inflicted. Lyra coming up on the Kraken fight already. All just breezing through both Lich and Carry, no problems.
Alright, so Kraken 2, looks like we've got a big hit on the fighter to start out with. A fighter swings for 125. We get Fog 2 strats again, and Temper on the fighter, as well as Invis 2. So a little bit of a mix of your two, either avoidance or mitigation items or spells there. Cure 4 on the fighter. We get, oh dear, the ninja just gets smacked upside the head. But the fighter gets tempered and swings again for 172. So unfortunately, looks like Kraken is being avoidy as Kraken has tended to do.
Yeah, Kraken not playing nicely, singing a lullaby to the ninja. The ninja's just taking a long nap now.
Yep. Good news is fighter hit harder on that last one, so fortunately, going a little bit better. We've got Fire 3 coming out, doing chip damage basically. Temper on the fighter, Cure 4 to make sure the fighter stays upright. Big old swing, well, not so big old swing, I don't think. 2 hits, I didn't quite catch the numbers there.
I believe that was 162.
Yeah, it didn't seem like much. I believe 301 on that next one. So Kraken is getting chips down, and then Kraken decides to crack down the Black Mage. So fighter gets their revenge with 716, and there goes Kraken 2.
The White Mage survived. That's what matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you pick everybody else up, you're generally good to go. I think only thing that might be concerning coming out of that was all those uses of Cure 4, which of course necessary to keep the fighter upright, but there's still Cure 4s that you may miss going into Tia or Chaos.
Article spotted.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Everyone's favorite, that Iron Goal. It didn't stick around for long on a couple of our streams. Just a very quick runaway.
She has managed to conserve the Cure 4s on the night, so those could potentially be saving.
Yes, that is definitely true. That's a good point to make. Oh, that poor ninja.
And thankfully, not quite Lullaby Land yet. Just halfway there.
Yeah. Looks like the bulk of the tempers have been on the fighter, and Tia 2 goes down with a rather humbling hit of 1-hit-87 to finish it off. So Tia goes down with a good bit of ignominy.
Doesn't matter if it's 1 for 1 as long as the Terminated comes up.
That's true. No, a win is a win is a win, as it were. Alright, so since we have our final Kraken fight of the evening, looks like Lyra's going ahead and getting things ready, putting the fighter into that third slot. And you want to do the honors?
Alright, so coming in, we're going to start off with Temper, coming in on the fighter. Making the decision, looks like Saber, going to maybe go on some hybrid stats here. A straight fight coming in. And looks like Invis 2, want to cover that party up. Ice 2 coming through here. We know that Ice 2 is just the start, the precursor, that we will get down there eventually to that nastier part of the spell table. Oh, round 2, going to bring up some more Temper. Still considering. Another Saber seems like it's in order here. Going to do another straight fight, and it looks like another Invis 2. We're going to keep steady, run it back. Invis 2 goes off, gets turn order on Chaos. Chaos coming through, and unfortunately just a little above what the Black Mage had. The Black Mage is now resting as a hat on the floor. Deciding again here. We're going to Invis 2 again as another Saber comes out. Another Invis 2. Both getting turn order on Chaos as well. And a swing from the Knight gets through. Gets through for about 201. Stun hits ineffective here. Good news for us. Invis 2, number 4, we're definitely getting up there where the misses are going to start coming in. In fact, indeed, Chaos gets through and misses. We got what look to be 5 hits for about 260 and a ton of hits for 474 from the Ninja. Those sabers paying off. Back again with 9 for about 550. The Bane comes through, ineffective across the team. Here comes the Wall Stick. Perfect timing, too, because we know what's coming up next in that spell list. Coming through, and 563, the Wall Stick coming out. Oh, that's a melee for 131, getting through all those invis charges. Another melee swing back, about 176. Oh, good hits from the Ninja, 566, 150 from the Knight. The nuke comes across, thank the wall, 10 hit points on Tsar. That Ninja barely staying up. And there's the Terminated. Knight takes him down with a 409 swing. GG to Lyra.
GG to Lyra, and that is your finish of the race with an official FFR bot time of 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 27 seconds. So GG to Lyra, GG to Tsar, and GG to everybody for a fantastic race this evening.
GG's.
Yeah, absolutely exciting race from all 4 of our runners, and just great putting on an amazing show for all of us here. And don't forget, if you're in chat, give all 4 of these runners a follow. They played their hearts out for you here tonight. We had some great racing, some great ingenuity, and some great intelligence overall, and everybody just running their absolute hearts out. Visit them all, give them all a follow. They all deserve your love.
Absolutely. Also, make sure to give our trackers a follow as well. Luffy and Magius. Magius unfortunately had to exit a little early, but both of them kept our heads on our shoulders tonight. And also, give Demon a follow as well. You've done a great job helping me calm tonight, so much appreciated.
No, don't forget Karan as well, putting on the lead here and just giving us a great voice in the booth.
I appreciate it. It's definitely a privilege, and I very much enjoy it. All right, so we'll see in a moment if Lyra is able to join us in chat. Speed Gaming does all the heavy lifting on that front, so we will simply wait on our bot overlords to summon our talkers for us here.
I want to wish the best of luck to Zenobian and Cyrenise in the next round. I'll be watching. Again, a really solid time here. I can tell you guys have been practicing, and I cannot wait to see what the next round holds in store for all of us.
Thank you. It was really a lot of fun. I've been really looking forward to this co-op tournament. Co-op is a special brand of FFR that's just always so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. And just as a little bit of info, the second round features Team A, the Canadians, Burt Reynolds and Jet 2980. So that is definitely going to be quite the fantastic race, I can tell you that.
Yeah, they've been putting up some really good times as well. So I have no doubt that's going to be a challenging series.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially just speaking from my own perspective, I know Burt Reynolds was coming up as a duckling the same time I was, and I was plodding along at the back of the line, and he was sitting here teaching the rest of us ducks how to swim. So definitely expect good things from both sides. I think on that race, it's going to be a fantastic race all around.
I am going to go ahead and call it a night for myself, though. I have to be up in about 6 hours for work. So y'all have a wonderful night, and GG's all around.
Oh,
thank you for the great work.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good night, and thank you for joining us, Cyrenus.
I'm double checking if Lyra's going to be joining us here for an interview in just a moment. We'll have an answer on that.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. To do
I
that.
heard there was quite a matchup earlier today with the Game Changers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had the co-op rando tournament has given us nothing but amazing matches so far. And yeah, if you didn't catch one earlier, go back and watch that VOD. It's definitely worth catching. It's close enough you'll be biting your nails.
Yeah, absolutely. I plan to go back and see if I can give it a peek myself.
All right, no words yet. Zara, did you have any other thoughts on this seed at all in general? Just the way that it played out, or any kind of the routing or anything?
It was kind of funny. The floater was in the same vanilla location it was last night. There were some parallels drawn to last night's seed as well. Overall, I think I just ended up taking the wrong turn at Albuquerque and getting a little bit unlucky with the wipes. It really was not that bad overall. It was not a Red Mage seed, though, that's for sure.
No, it definitely was not. We were noting in the chat that I think the biggest difference really between you guys and Team Onrac was they seemed to have a bit of an easier time kind of finding their feet, so to speak. And it was, you could see the difference kind of levels wise between y'all, because whereas you guys were in the low to mid teens, they were starting to push into the high teens and 20s. And I think that was essentially the biggest difference, because I think it allowed for a little bit of easier momentum. And in doing so, they were able to go check locations, find shards, be able to get some of those items a little bit quicker. And that, I think, just further accelerated the momentum. So I don't think it was any bad plays from anybody. I think it was more that Zenobian and Cyranus were able to find a little bit more momentum quicker, and they simply use that to kind of keep pushing the rock down the hill, if you will. And I think it was just simply a difference of momentum. It wasn't any bad decisions or any devastating mistakes on the run. A few wipes obviously can do some damage, but you guys all raced well. Their time being as fast as it is, as I was mentioning before, should not be any sort of a detriment, and nobody hopefully will see it as a detriment to you guys at all. It's a testament to just how good they are and how well they ran the seed.
The lack of AoE early was a bit frustrating as well, dealing with only Bane. I think Fire 3 was available at level 4. Did not have much of any AoE besides that, with Fade at level 8 and Nuke at level 6.
Yeah, this seed was definitely unkind as far as the vendor magic was concerned. It was, when you guys found those towns fairly early on, and we were able to see on stream where the magic was and how unavailable it was for most of the levels and some of the magicians, it definitely cast a certain tone for the seed. And in some sense, it was good that the item magic rolled as it did, because I think the temper being on an axe and being able to find 2 of them was especially noteworthy and especially helpful for really everybody.
My partner says they have not yet received the invite.
Yeah, we're trying to check on that on our end as well. One of the issues with speed gaming is more of an automated process. So we're endeavoring to see if we can fix this, or perhaps Lyra joining us in chat, GG Lyra, in the Twitch chat. Perhaps we can do a little bit of.
Here we go. Actually, we got him coming in here in a moment.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. All right, so GG Lyra, and congratulations. Thank you for the run.
Thank you for broadcasting. Appreciate it.
GG partner, well done. Nice finish there. True power of the Vorpal.
All right, so sorry about the technical difficulties on trying to get you the invite for starters.
Oh, that's no issue at all.
So, Lyra, what'd you think of that seed overall?
Honestly, I think we struggled more last night than we did tonight. Like, we actually found a good rhythm between Zara and I, and just seeing the hour difference between us two, it's like, they are top-notch. And we are friends, but I'm a broadcaster. Like, I prefer doing commentary for you guys, and I'm not really a runner, but I still love the game just as much as everyone else does. So this is just me going on and doing what I do best.
Yeah, we absolutely appreciate it. It was great watching you run regardless of which side of the screen you prefer to be on. You put on a heck of a show for us tonight. It looks like you and your partner, I mean, times notwithstanding, it's all about, you guys look like you were meshing well. You were passing items back and forth, checking locations. I got this, you got that. Check that where that turns in. It was all pretty well run. Did anything kind of stand out for you as just kind of out of the ordinary, other than, of course, some of the unfortunates with magics in the party composition that actually probably affected your partner more than you did, be going with the speed and power and actually having the white mage and the black mage?
Well, this is the normal comp that I tend to take, either this or Fighter Rainbow, and honestly, yeah, the magic was absolutely terrible, and if you notice that I didn't really even pick up anything past level 4 because I didn't even feel like I needed to go back and buy those. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, the magic roll was, I mean, we were ruining it, not just chatting with you guys, but just in the commentary in general. It was pretty awful for just about everything, except, I mean, Exit at 1, Warp at 2 was good. Cure 4 at 2 was good. Then the rest of it, not quite so much.
Yeah, you got it.
Singing the Red Mage Blues throughout the whole thing. Go ahead, Larry.
I like white-black. I've always liked white-black mages. It's the pretty much original comp that I ran over 30 years ago, so...
Hey, it's tried and true for a reason.
Definitely something to be said for having availability of all magic and randomizer.
Yeah, it's certainly we didn't really get much of a chance, unfortunately, to discuss the party comps. I think because the way that the co-op tournament sets up, you guys obviously start on the start screen instead of starting with, say, the party selection screen or when you're on the title screen. So it makes it a little bit tougher to talk about party comps at the beginning, but we were seeing some pretty interesting builds, and it like you said, the magic really determined how it panned out, and unfortunately anybody carrying a red mage or red wizard, well, sorry, oops to you this evening, but it's just, well, part of the risk with a randomizer, just like much of anything else.
Sandworm Tile was my only savior.
The way I routed it was, okay, I'm going to go kill Tiamat and Warmac. I knew that tile was there from earlier, and I was like, I'm going to stop here because this is actually pretty good XP, and while I can just 2-turn everything, at least I'm not taking longer than that on each fight, and the XP was just absolutely well worth it.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the tiles of choice, Zara for you is definitely the sandworms, and pretty much everybody else was just, Gershark's Big Eyes. We seen a lot of Gershark's Big Eyes tonight.
The way I saw it is the sandworms were just too far deep in the opposite direction for me to want to go all the way back there. I probably would have taken a lot longer if I had done so.
It was deep.
Yeah, that was the main concern that Cyrenus had noted when they were talking about that sandworm tile, was that they just felt it was kind of too deep down the rabbit hole to take, whereas the Gershark Big Eye was, I believe, was it the first floor of that set?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, well, unfortunately for you guys, this is the end of y'all's tournament, but as both of you have already mentioned, you guys had a good time as far as the tournament goes. Is there anything else that you guys want to say as we are kind of drawing toward a close this evening?
We were friends before this, we'll be friends after this, and there is no friend better than Tyro.
I cannot agree more. Thank you, Lyra, for joining me in this tournament. I know we were slated to join last year, never got to it. We did get to it this year. Had a lot of fun. I think you played very well. And I would definitely do it all again if I had the opportunity to do so. So Thank you, everyone, for an enjoyable experience, and I look forward to spectating, continuing. Who knows, maybe I'll even come into the booth one of these matches.
I'll take the title next year, don't worry about it.
All right, well, we have a gauntlet thrown down already, and Czar, as someone who is a relatively recent arrival to the comms booth myself, I will say we definitely welcome you in, and any input that you can give and any services you can provide would be greatly appreciated. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and post all the information one last time for you all. Make sure to follow all of our runners, Zenobian and Cyranus, Czar, and Lyra, for the great tournament running that they've done. They provided a very good show this evening. Make sure to follow everybody who helped out, including Demon RHK, who put up with my shenanigans in the comms booth, and then Luffy and Magius1 doing the tracking this evening. And I think with that, we will go ahead and let everybody get some sleep. And Demon, do you want to take us out for tonight?
Sure thing. So once again, thank you very much to Speed Gaming for hosting us. All of our runners, again, you got links in chat. Follow them. Follow my co-com here as well, Karan. Did an amazing job this evening, as well as our trackers. And thank you all of you for joining us as well. Without you, the viewers, we wouldn't have much of a show to put on here. And GG's to our winners moving on here. And again, GG to both of our teams of runners here. Again, you may not be continuing, but you've been on a heck of a show for all of us tonight. And everybody take care. Have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you next time for more FFR Randomizer.